Cause it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world. Whether you want to admit it or not.
You know what? Like every week they get better. It doesn't even really matter the topic, man. It's just, how can it be whack if everybody's being real?
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
Polyamory is not based on I want to have sex with more than one person. Like, it's a committed relationship between a particular group of individuals, where it's 3 or 4, but they're not like, we're together, now we're going out, we're doing this. No, we're together. They're a relationship together.
Cause it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world. Whether you want to admit it or not.
You know what? Like every week they get better. It doesn't even really matter the topic, man. It's just, how can it be whack if everybody's being real?
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
Polyamory is not based on I want to have sex with more than one person. Like, it's a committed relationship between a particular group of individuals, where it's 3 or 4, but they're not like, we're together, now we're going out, we're doing this. No, we're together. They're a relationship together.
Cause it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world. Whether you want to admit it or not.
You know what? Like every week they get better. It doesn't even really matter the topic, man. It's just, how can it be whack if everybody's being real?
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
Polyamory is not based on I want to have sex with more than one person. Like, it's a committed relationship between a particular group of individuals, where it's 3 or 4, but they're not like, we're together, now we're going out, we're doing this. No, we're together. They're a relationship together.
Cause it is a competition. I walk around with an invisible number on top of my head, just like everybody else in this world. Whether you want to admit it or not.
You know what? Like every week they get better. It doesn't even really matter the topic, man. It's just, how can it be whack if everybody's being real?
Because there's a divine order to this. So if you want a woman to submit to you, you need to submit to God.
Polyamory is not based on I want to have sex with more than one person. Like, it's a committed relationship between a particular group of individuals, where it's 3 or 4, but they're not like, we're together, now we're going
Dope.
Let me bring. Oh, you like it? Freezy,
Dope.
you didn't see it?
Dope.
Oh, you didn't see it. What's up, Freezy?
Juana Chica, what's up?
Man,
I'm ready for another dope show.
man, I'm excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
Let's have some fun.
Hey,
Hey,
it's about to get spicy. I can
yeah.
take literally
I
spicy.
started a little early today. I know people like coming from work and they like, oh, we gonna buy again later. So me and you gonna get the party started. I told
Let's
them,
get it
I'm like,
popping.
yeah, I get it started. I got a few other people checking in, probably about 7. So I was like, let me just explain what the show gonna be about. So hi, Gems and Jules. Que pasa? You speak Spanish? Reese from Philly, do you speak Spanish or you just said que pasa? Hey, Reese from Philly. How are you? Hey, everybody. Hey, Gems and Jules. Thank you for coming. If you are not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Well, you can listen in first and see if you even want to subscribe because I want people to subscribe who really just want to like mess with my message, right? I don't want everybody to subscribe. I want people who really like support me and mess with me and like they gonna log in and support me all the time. Like Mr. Rucker. Let me add Mr. Rucker. Hey, Mr. Rucker.
Yo, what's up, everybody? What's up, Freezy?
Ruck, what's up with you, boy?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a spicy topic. I definitely have to have Mr. Rucker because he's the finance guy. He gonna let us see it from a different perspective.
Yeah, we need Ruck.
Clean up.
But this is gonna be, a crazy topic. I don't know how many of y'all have heard about the Drake story, and I was kind of bringing Freezy up to speed with it. This Drake story is like it's crazy. Let me say this: it's alleged because you just never know if these stories are true. It's so many clout chasing folks out here in these streets. You just never know anymore. Like, is this really a real story? But I'm gonna tell y'all anyway, so we can talk about it because really, it's not about the story. It's more so about like, do this really happen in real life? Like, I really want to know how y'all feel. The hot box.
Yeah.
So, do this happen in real life? Because I feel like I want the men to shed some light because y'all been out here with women. Do women really try to do this? And so this brought me to the question of do women try to trap men, right? And we can talk about what trapping means. For me, it's like you intentionally got pregnant in hopes that the man will stay in your life, right? In a committed fashion. And what intentionally got pregnant means, that's sketchy, right? Because we just never know. I mean, if you're a man, there are things you can do to prevent things, right? But if a woman goes behind that and still tries to get pregnant, even when you have taken protective measures, is she trapping you? Like, yeah, right? So allegedly, Drake and this IG model, they met on Instagram. And then he kind of talked to her and they decided to link up. So a few weeks ago, they linked up. And apparently it was like he invited her to a party. So he was just like, okay, come to the party. And I guess when she got to the party, he filled her out and he was like, okay, she's cool. Then they went back to the hotel. Apparently they they did whatever, drink, whatever, had smoked, drink, did all that, chilled. And then it got to a point where they was like intimate. It was consensual. Okay, so let's whatever. This is alleged anyway. This is all alleged, y'all. Apparently Drake at some point decided, okay, it's time to put the condom on. So he put on a condom. Okay, they did whatever, and then it was over. He went into the restroom to probably discard the condom, right? That's the next step. Shortly after that, the IG model, she goes in the restroom. right? She goes in there apparently to dig up the condom. She digs up the condom. She attempts to pour the content in her private area. That's what I'm gonna say. Okay.
Oh my God.
The reason why women do that, or why a woman would think to do that, is that in hopes that she will be pregnant, right? That's the only thing that you could possibly be thinking when you pour the contents.
Yeah.
Right. So she did that, and apparently there was hot sauce in the condom.
Burn.
And she said that she got burned when she poured it in her whatever. So she wants to sue Drake. And so she went public with this. Apparently, nobody can find this woman though, right? So nobody knows exactly who she is. So that's why I'm like, is this a real story? Because why, in this world, you can find whoever. So who is this supposed IG model that can't know, that's untouchable and nobody knows who it is? So she apparently is threatening to sue Drake. And Drake reportedly kind of low-key responded and was kind of like, girl, please, I'm gonna let you have your little 15 minutes of fame. Like, this story is pure, because he's getting a lot of attention about putting hot sauce in his condom and her attempting to put it in her whatever, right? So, I'm trying to clean it up for the folks, but y'all get the gist, okay? She wanted to use the ghetto turkey, like the ghetto version of the turkey baster method. For all of you don't know what that is, because I got to school the men, right? The turkey baster method is like artificial insemination, right? So you can take the kitchen utensil, the actual turkey baster, you can put it in a condom, right?
Wow.
Take the contents of the condom, and then you want to insert that directly in your cervix.
That's crazy.
Because it gets right into your uterus, right? And so then that method, if done correctly so also what y'all need to know is that it's the sperm is only good for 20 minutes, right? In some cases, an hour. So the woman will typically do this right away, right? As soon as you put the condom somewhere, she's gonna get up and start searching for it, because she has to do it within a certain time frame in order for it to be successful.
Yeah. Bathroom breaks. That's when they do it.
The bathroom, exactly. The restroom break. And all women, we need one. We do need the restroom break. So don't.
Mr. Rucker, you know about this, Mr. Rucker?
Yes, I do, sadly.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, you gotta know about this, right? So this turkey baster method, if done with an actual turkey baster, they have the actual disposable turkey baster thing. So you don't really have to buy. You can buy like a smaller syringe and do it. Because you don't really need that much to put in, it's not a lot. The method is 10 to 15% successful. And just to put it in context, intercourse is about 15 to 20% successful rate. So that's how high of a success rate this is. You can really get pregnant. And then it increases to 38% after you try multiple times. So you can essentially get pregnant without you having tried, right? Like you're not really ejaculating in the woman. You're trying to protect yourself. So there was a few things like there's not a lot of studies on do women actually do this, right? So how do you guys feel about this? Like, do you know women who do this, like this trapping a man, right? Go through these extremes to trap a man? Have y'all ever heard of stories like that? Really?
Yeah.
Mr. Rucker, tell me.
Well, I personally was involved in something like that a few years ago. It really comes down. She didn't do all this, turkey baster and everything, but she did things like saying that I'm on the pill, and then when I asked like, can I see, she couldn't come up with it. It's like, right there, that's a little small trick. Or if they say that, oh, I already got the shot and I still want to put the condom on, and then they refuse to like have sex because I'm putting on the condom, and they'll make up excuses like, oh, well, I'm allergic and all that. Like, to me, all that is trapping. Like, we both want to do this, but we're trying to protect ourselves. But it's like, you doing all this slick talk and this red flag stuff, it's like, just say you want to have a kid. So when they say like, oh, I'm on the pill, you can trust me. No, don't trust her. Especially if you're a good guy, good benefits, and you look good, and you know that, your competition is a little on the poor side, or, the Pookies and Ray Rays. She's looking at you like food. You're a meal ticket. So she's trying to financially trap you. And she don't even care about getting married. Like, if you don't marry her, fine, I'll get you a child support for 18 years. And there goes your check, no matter what. So she's going to try to trap you one way or another.
So for you, Mr. Rucker, so you didn't go forward with it. You said no.
No, after the question,
how do you handle that situation?
It just got awkward. So like, because that like messed up the mood. It's like, okay, we're kissing and hugging and stuff. We're taking off the clothes, and right before we get actually into it, it's like, hey, I'm about to put this on. She's like, no, that's okay. I'm already on the pill. Okay, let me see. What do you mean when you see? Like, let me see the pills.
So she didn't want you to put on a condom,
right?
And you saw that as a red flag, potentially, that she was trying to get pregnant on purpose.
Right. And this was on the third day, so it's like, okay, the speed of it.
The third day. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the speed of it, and the fact that she didn't want me to wear it. It's like, like this is getting too obvious now. Like, nah, I think it just kills the mood. And we really didn't talk after that. I mean, she tried to text a couple times, but I just like, nah, I'm cool.
Reese from Philly said that should be illegal. How much time should a woman get? How can you sue Drake, right? We should call it insemination fraud.
Yes.
I would think the problem with this is, and hey, Jedi Mike.
How you doing?
Hello.
Hey, Jedi.
How you doing? Is that
We're good.
Prenup?
We're good. Yeah. We're talking about this whole Drake situation. I explained it. Have you heard of the story?
Yes, I have. And
you have, right? The hot sauce.
Yeah, I'm still processing it. I'm kind of, yeah. I'm sorry. I gotta say, Frizzy. I mean, it's so nice to meet you, bro. Man.
Hey, you too, my brother, man. You too, bro.
Yo, listen, the most iconic moment from you. If you go back in 2 hours, 35 minutes, and 30 seconds exactly. Right.
You remember that?
Classic. That was classic. Like, finally, somebody took the time to research and got it.
Somebody need to clip that.
Yeah.
Are y'all sharing with people? Was it an inside joke?
Wait, no. It was on. It was. I mean, you can go back on the video to it. It was just hilarious. No, it's not private. Yeah,
no, it's not private.
Which video? Because people might want to go back and see it.
I forgot which one it was. It was like.
I forgot too.
Yeah, somebody posted it. Teddy said 2 minutes 30. Okay, tell us what happened.
Yeah, Mr. Rucker, you're the prenup guy, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all right. Long time no see, bro.
Yeah. Mr. Rucker is the prenup guy. I got some good people on this panel. We're gonna really get into this whole issue of trapping.
The comment that you just posted, Tawana, Reese from Philly.
Yes.
I agree. It should be illegal, but we know United States of America is a Christian-based, predominantly a Christian-based country.
That's true.
So the way they're looking at it is, men should have more of a moral stance when it comes to choosing sexual partners. So, most of the blame is going to be put on men in America anyway. It was our choice to lay down with the woman. That's how they look at it, right?
You don't have good character, right? Because
you got good character. You're not
this woman.
Yeah,
potentially is trying to trap you, and you don't even know that she that kind of woman. So you let her seduce you,
right? So the question was, do women trap men with money?
Right.
Women definitely trap, but women trap men for more than just money. Women might trap men for just to get a baby, just because they have baby fever, they want a baby, or they might trap, you know, for men with power, they clout chasing, just for association purposes. You know what I'm saying? Women trap for all kind of reasons. I'm telling you. Yo, Darrell, what's up? But
Hey, Zelle. Hey, Zelle.
I'm gonna share a story. I don't have a story of my own, Mr.
Okay.
Rucker. Hey, I salute you, but I'm gonna share my cousin's story.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
But before I tell the story, I just want to give a disclaimer. It's scary as hell, but I'm gonna share it, right? So, and I didn't believe him. I honestly didn't believe him when he told the story. But okay, so basically, my cousin, he basically moved in with this chick, and she basically she was cooking for him every night. He was staying, he stayed over there for about, I want to say probably for about 2 weeks. And basically he was just using her for shelter or whatever, just to get on his feet. And he said that he wasn't having sex with her. He knew she liked him because the woman was big. She was like probably like 400 pounds or something like that, 350 pounds. So he was just using her because he knew she liked him. So one night, I don't know how she persuaded him. I don't know if he was drunk, he was under influence, but they ended up getting involved sexually, right? He didn't have a condom. So this goes back to what Mr. Rucker was saying. He didn't have a condom. And note to the men, if you're going to have sex, bring your own condom, okay? Note to the men. But
Right.
Say it louder.
bring your own condom. But he didn't have his own condom. She furnished the condom, right? So basically he put the condom on and they went to, having intercourse. In the middle of the intercourse, the condom broke. But he wasn't thinking about it, as a man, when you're in the middle of it and you haven't reached your climax, realistically, you're gonna keep going. You think to yourself, I'm already, in the middle of it, so I'm gonna reach my climax. So he told her, hey, you think we should keep going? I don't think this is a good idea. She was like, no, keep going, or whatnot. So he kept going. And when he reached his climax, no lie, now there was missionary style. He was on top of her. Okay. Of course, she's a big woman, so that's naturally the position you're gonna be in. But when he climaxed, he said this woman wrapped her legs around his back and bear hugged him like a wrestling move. He couldn't move. And she forced him to ejaculate in her.
Oh no.
Yes. And I was petrified when I heard the story, right?
Jesus
So
on the main line.
I said, women do that. They do that. So basically, to make a long story short, she conceived. She had a baby.
Damn, man.
Listen, my cousin was so bitter about the situation. He didn't, I told him to get over it. You have a child, you have a responsibility. But he was so bitter about the situation, he kind of neglected the child in the beginning stages, in the infancy stages, because he was so mad that she did that to him, right? Because of it, she ended up putting him on child support.
Of course.
And he ended up accumulating a lot of back pay, which ended up accumulating warrants. He did a lot of jail time in the beginning until he made he reconciled with the situation and said, hey, I'm a dad,
right?
And I'm just going to go ahead and handle my responsibility. But
do you know at what age did he decide, hey, I'm going to be involved?
Okay, I think when the child turned around like 4 years old, that's when he kind of like said, you know what, I'm a dad. I don't want to be absent from my daughter's life. She needs a father figure. And it took some talking to from me and other people in his life that he's close to. Hey, don't neglect the girl. But I did understand why he was angry and mad and resentful. She actually bear hugged this guy and made him ejaculate in her,
100
So
pounds, yeah.
I told him, bro, the reason why the condom, bro, is I did hear this. I haven't heard of the turkey baster method, but I did hear when women sometimes take the condom and stick a pin in the condom so it can easily break.
The
Yeah.
And that's what I
athletes,
felt like
the
she did.
NFL athletes and NBA players have been told about this plenty of times by their coaches. It's the same
Yep.
thing.
That's
Yeah.
it's like it's a these are known methods that women do. But also, well, before I get into that, before I get into men's responsibility in that, let me let Jedi Mike respond to that. Do women like use methods like this to try men? Like, is this a thing? The turkey baster method? Have you heard of this?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm,
But I think we have to understand like what type of like status these women are actually level. Because does it happen to the average, no ordinary guy? Probably not, right? Is happening to a person who's athlete has a lot of stuff to lose? Yes, and I don't think that's actually being perpetuated because we're thinking that well the conversation we brought to a modern man, then it's like oh yeah no it doesn't exist. But no, we're talking about different status here, different high levels of income. So, in the point of this, like you see, coaches actually bringing in freaking Brenny Renner to tell him about, hey, this is what happens when these people who have a blue check mark trying to finesse you players, right? Because they're telling you the game, right? So this exactly does happen, and this is just part of the game of terms of this high status of American society in high corporations. You can take athletes out of it. They can try to target CEOs of people of Fortune 500 companies. It's the same thing. So just like anything that's incentive of some man has something to lose, oh yeah, they can be targeted. Absolutely.
It's a damn shame.
oh,
It's a
dang. Like, I guess it's for mostly men who have some sort of status and something to lose. But like, do women use this idea of getting pregnant, right, in hopes that men will commit to them? Like, do they do that to like everyday men? You know what I mean?
yeah.
Well,
I do see that, and it's either like I'm gonna try to keep this man with the baby. If that don't work, I get him with the check because child support typically doesn't happen right off the bat. It's more like, this woman's giving this man ultimatums. It'll be better for you to be in the child's life. If you don't, I'll take you to court. So either you do it by guilt or they're going to scare you and going to court. So one way or another, she's going to win. She has more options than that man. That man is just basically being held hostage. He doesn't really have a choice. The moment he ejaculated, there goes your rights. It's out the door.
but and this is why I quite emphasize on men is that I was recently on another panel. We were talking about sexual discipline or dick discipline, whatever you want to call it, right? Because the thing about this, listen, regardless of whether you want to sugarcoat or not, sex is power, right? And especially as men, we can't afford to be to give that up because as one. Whether you're religious, whatever, it goes back to the whole thing of being of a man having a carnal mindset. We can't afford that because that leads to temptation, that leads to uncertainty, and that basically, unfortunately, because of that, and if we're going to be in the positions of being of a leader, that leads to the demise of the woman, and leads to the demise of the children because we're unstable and we're lack discipline. Right. So look at what the things is like. I emphasize a lot of this thing about self control, delaying self gratification, whatever. Especially to my parents are pastors, whatever. My father, he had a very hard conversation with me about this because he just cut the BS and it's like, listen, these urges do exist, they happen, right? So I think that's another thing we're not having as men, from father to son or whatever. Just saying have enough conversations like, hey, the feeling does exist or whatever, but we have not talking about how to control it, how to delay that urge or whatever, and that leads basically to the outcomes and the situations we have here.
So you think that it's possible for men to delay or to prevent themselves from sleeping with women who they're not interested in, I guess, having a kid with, right? Because like this could happen. Anything can happen in the
Absolutely.
moment of intimacy. So you can't just be like, well, I put on a condom, she trapped me. No, because yes, condoms have a high percentage, right? I think it's 98%. That's a pretty high percentage. But there's a chance that they could break, like in Freezy's case, right? So in my mind, your cousin should have stopped her and said, I'm about to put on another one. Like, that's what I would have done as soon as it broke. Like, ain't no, let me keep going.
But this
right?
goes to another point. Like for me, like I have this saying that, and women might get upset when I say this, but like no woman on God's green earth is above my principles. What I mean by that, I mean by saying like, listen, I don't care how good you look or how much you stare me. It's like, to me, it's just about survival. Like I have to hold my standards, talking about self-control and be disciplined, regardless how you look. Now, people might listen to that, say call cap on that, but that's what, when you try to lay that. Women see that, but also men see that. They don't want to be with someone that has who lack self control. But in the situation too, regardless of a man having self control, whatever, yeah, they are. You can't be targeted, be put in these situations where your backup is up against the corner. That's why I say increasing discernment. Listen, like Maya Angelou says, someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Believe them.
Right? There's many signs of this, and I'm tired, especially on both men and women. I'm talking to you guys like you're not dumb individuals. You know who the drug dealer is on the street. You know who the person is who is the baby daddy who's had two baby mamas and not paying for their children, yet you won't give his child, he's gonna pay for yours.
Because they think they're gonna be different, Jay. They think they're gonna be different.
No.
They don't recognize a pattern and cycle. They say, no, what, he's gonna do me different. I'm gonna get him to commit to me.
No,
that's their mindset.
No, it's
You're right,
that's the thing. It's the myth and the fallacy that we.
A lot of people respond to temptation. Like a lot of people don't know how to like exhibit self-control. It's really hard. You see, people are out here, they doing this. So
facts.
What do you do? Because that is what the reality, that people are not exhibiting self-control. People are giving in to temptation. They having sex with these women, men, and these situations happen, and everybody in the blame game now. It's your fault. No, it's your fault. And this, that, and the third. Go free.
That's true.
Well, lately in the manosphere, right? The biggest sentiment is men want women that's submissive, cooperative, kind, nice. Ironically, where you're gonna find most of these qualities are in women that's trying to trap men. They're gonna do what they need to do to win. You feel what I'm saying? The prostitution is the oldest profession known to man. So do you want to find a woman that's going to encourage you, make you feel like the best man in the world? Go on a stroll and get a prostitute. She's gonna make you feel like the best man known to man. Yeah. I'm telling you. Mm-hmm. So it's an art to it. That's what I'm trying to say. These women understand it's an art to it. That's why OnlyFans is so big. You feel what I'm saying? And OnlyFans, you got thirst traps on social media. This is big business. So I know some women would get mad at me for saying this, but you can learn a lot from a prostitute. A woman can learn a lot from a prostitute because she's learned the art of reeling a man in and actually getting what he wants.
You talk, but only the physical needs.
Physical, emotional. I'm telling you, they know.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. All right, Jedi Mike. Let me let you step in this.
Yeah. I think I know what you're trying to say. There's an art in finessing. Right.
Exactly.
Right. And with that, you can reap a lot of benefits if you play your cards right. Right. This is the same thing with business. Why you think, for example, that you have women who might be the secretaries, whatever, go to other CEO in their company and try to have a conversation with them. Say, oh, you look so nice today. Hey, how's your daughter? How blah blah blah. Whatever. That's the thing of trying to get them to snare and feel comfortable, whatever, so they can hopefully get to sign a deal. It's the same thing. Right. So I think on what you're trying to say, there's something we can learn, but on a really, it's basically about finessing or manipulation. Right. But we always think manipulation is always a bad thing, which it can be, but it's the same thing. Like you can manipulate situations to reap, that can serve you, to be a benefit for you, right? But also you can manipulate situations that lead to consequences. So I think on that, yeah, you're right. There is, there's many other professions, other prostitutes that you can learn from. But I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, but really,
how do you ensure you don't cross that line into manipulation?
But think about it though, Tawana. Are prostitutes and strippers actually manipulating, or are they actually offering a service? We know men know what they're getting themselves into. They're going to the prostitute and the stripper for an exact reason, on purpose, because they want this treatment. You know, so the stripper and the prostitute, they learn to be professionals at getting, you know, getting the job done.
But only
Man
a
in the
certain
time.
type of man is attracted to those type of women, right?
Say what? What did you say?
Only certain men are attracted to those type of women.
Only
Like,
certain type.
yeah.
Yeah, the
So,
men that gave up. Those are the types. The men that gave up.
because I mean, like men are not going to honestly. All men are not going to want to entertain a prostitute if they know that that's a prostitute. Are you saying that like that majority of men entertain prostitutes?
No,
I don't. I'm not.
Quiet on
No,
that
I'm
one.
not saying. I'm not
Right.
saying.
So a lot
I've
of
never
men don't
entertained a
entertain
prostitute.
them.
I've never
So
entertained a
somebody said
prostitute.
all men entertain prostitutes, like
No,
all of
true.
them.
no,
Not
that's
true.
not true.
That's not
That's not true.
No, that's not true. Not knowingly. Not knowingly. No.
No.
So like, because I mean, if men like prostitutes, then yes, I can see why women need to be like. But if it's only certain men who like prostitutes because they like to be in control or just be able transactional, right? They don't want to have
Right.
to court the woman, go through getting to know her and all this stuff when ultimately all they want is that.
Well, we gotta realize why prostitutes exist. They're here to fill a void. All men don't have that void, but the men that do.
I can
Go
explain
ahead.
better on that situation. Basically, because Tawana, like, listen, men are very simple, but you'd be very surprised in terms of situations with men, even if they're married. All they really want is not even just the physical, is women connection. Look at it in terms of the OnlyFans subscriptions going on. They're asking to sell them. Wait, say what?
Good point, Daryl.
He said, what if you don't know, like as a man? I was talking to a woman who recently admitted she got paid to beg a white man. She didn't consider that prostitution, but it is. It is. If you got paid to sleep with another person, you did prostitution. You may not be a prostitute in the sense of that's your profession, but you did participate in prostitution.
If you slept with this man to get your bills paid, that's prostitution. Yes. If you slept with this man to get a Birkin bag, that's prostitution.
It was pegged.
I mean, there's also
somebody paid. So a white man paid her to peg another, her husband. Peg. So you know what pegging is, right?
Yeah, as long as everybody's happy.
So I will tell everybody what pegging is. Okay, it's taking a dildo and having anal sex with a man.
TVMA.
That is pegging, and it's a new thing, right? Because some men are into it, and people are finding out that men are into it.
Weird.
That had to start out with white men,
right?
It's not just white men.
It sounds European.
It's a lot of men who are because black men like to say stuff like this. A lot of black men who are into it as well, and women do not, and a lot of people do not see them as gay or anything like that because it is a woman that they prefer to do that with.
I repeat,
that's a slippery slope. Nope.
It's a slippery slope.
But that's the truth.
Yeah. Definitely pause on that.
So a woman who is paid for sex in any capacity, do you consider her to be a prostitute?
It's sex work, right? But there's also escorts and as well. They just have thing of the girlfriend experience, the whole thing. Because like I said, sometimes it doesn't have to be sexual. Like where I was coming from was that some of these guys are just paying for. Some of these guys are just paying for really just human connection, right? Just like being in a room with someone just holding you, right, or listen to your conversation, right, right. Shout out to Red Lipstick though, she's good person. Yeah.
Mr. O. Mr. O in the building.
We need Mr. O on this one.
Man.
Oh, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, Jedi Mike?
Hey.
What's up, Mr. O?
How are you?
Crazy. I'm just
what's up, my boy?
Equipment and showing some love before I do my show tonight at 10.
Oh, I can't wait.
What is it
about? What's your show about tonight?
Tonight we're gonna define and discuss this dilemma that we got with these 90-dayers out here And we're gonna discuss these coochie coupons and coochie credit. Yeah, we're gonna break that all the way down, man.
The
Yeah.
coupons and the
Hey, the credit is due, and these coupons are like wood nickels. They're invalid. We're gonna talk about it.
Yes.
Lord, I can't wait to tune
We
into
getting
this.
into
That's
it.
gonna be great.
This is
Yeah,
gonna be funny.
I
If
got my
y'all not
thing ready.
following Living His Best Life, Mr. O Living His Best Life, y'all gotta follow so y'all can cash in on these coupons, I guess.
I got
He
my
gonna,
first
he gonna
Zelle
teach you how to
coming up.
cash in.
Yeah, man. The deal is
Shout
doing
out
this
to Red
shit.
Lipstick Vibes. Thank you so much. Shout out to Jerome and Mills.
How's the
I
mic?
think
How am I
Doctrine on
sounding?
here. How you
Am I
doing?
clear?
So we talking about trapping.
Is my volume good?
You good,
Mr.
bro?
O,
You good?
They good.
I haven't used this mic before.
Mr. O, did you hear about the Drake situation where he put hot sauce in his sperm?
No.
Okay, so there's a whole conversation that's going on social media. You all can check out the Shade Room. They're a source. Drake apparently linked up with this IG model. When he linked up with this IG model, you know, he invited her to a party. I guess from the party, he realized, oh, she cool. You know, I want to invite her up to my room. So he invited her up to his room. They began to engage in, you know, whatever. He put on a condom, right? So after they finish having sex, he goes to the bathroom, takes the condom off. She goes in the bathroom after Drake. Okay. She digs up the condom. Drake doesn't know that, but that's what she was doing. When she digs up the condom, she tries to kind of pour it in her vagina, realize that there is hot sauce in the sperm. So it then burns her vagina.
He did that on purpose just in case.
He did that on purpose to contaminate the specimen, right? Because
But
now
don't women know once that specimen hits the sunlight, hits the oxygen, that is no good?
20 minutes. You got 20 minutes to really do your thing and get the. So I don't know how long it was. Maybe she went right in there in 5 minutes. She thought she had some time, but I don't know. But long story short, there was hot sauce in the. And so
What brand?
Apparently this is what
What
Drake
was the
does.
brand? What was the brand?
It's a Baster.
Red hot.
Get that
Apparently,
red hot.
apparently he had the little packets, the Louisiana packets
Wow.
from Popeyes, you know, those little packets. So y'all might want to keep some on you, man. You know,
Yeah.
y'all might want to keep a little packet.
Because you never know unless
Yeah, keep-
someone comes out in a frantic. You never know who tried it until that's who you don't invite back.
She started screaming, right? Because it
I bet she
burned.
was.
And so Drake runs in the restroom. He's like, "What's wrong?" And he told her, "Oh, I'm sorry. He told her, like, I put hot sauce in it. You know, that's what I do." And then she decided she want to sue him.
You know, I replied, "That's Louisiana for you."
She wants to talk about that she want to sue, whatever. So that's what the story allegedly, right?
That's a Hail Mary now. She's hoping that he settles out of court because you can sue anybody for anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But he said he gonna give her 15 minutes and let her roll on because he's not about to entertain that.
Drake sounds like an NDA kind of guy, non-disclosure agreement. I don't think she has a chance in hell. That's why he's just letting it play out. Like,
right, because he went through all of that with her.
She'll get an interview on No Jumper for that, though.
You know what? She hasn't been revealed, so I don't know if people know who she is, and she just ain't came out. But nobody has revealed her name.
I wonder why she's on covers. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do women trap men, Mr. O? Like, do you think that's a thing?
For sure, they do. They try.
Like, is it mostly men with money? Is that men who have, or is it men in general?
I think, just to get real with it, overall, I guess motivation for women in modern times is to it's security, you know. So a lot of women are getting into relationships for security, period. And whether it's a regular guy or an opportunity for a guy that has more means than you could ever dream of, the what they're trying to do, which is why women sleep with Future, is for security, man. They want something to say that, like, when they get old, they're going to have something, and they don't know how to go about planning for their futures the right way. See, when you look in olden times, women's futures have been taken care of by their husbands who they marry, who's already been established. They never had to worry about getting old before. Now it's coming to light that, oh God, getting old costs. Oh God, getting old takes planning, Most women, when I ask them what they think about their futures, how far ahead, it's always the next few years. But no woman has ever sat down and thought about 65. What does that look like? You know, who's there? How much money does it cost to go to CVS and pay for this medicine? You know, how do I need somebody there to help me get out the tub? They're not thinking about these things. And now
Right.
with YouTube and all these platforms and hearing what men have to say, they're realizing, oh, I didn't plan for my future. So now with OnlyFans, all this stuff's gonna run out. But they think that like this stuff is a way to secure the future because it's a lump sum of money. And they think a lump sum of money is gonna secure their future. But without any financial IQ, they still gonna be lost. And she's really gonna make herself look bad if she comes out. She might want to try and wait on the next guy to see if it could work again. Because if she does it now, she won't get invited to more VIPs and any parties now.
Absolutely not.
Facts.
Absolutely
But you know
not.
what,
She'll be
though?
blacklisted.
This,
She'll be
Blacklisted.
blacklisted, right?
Yeah.
Snitch.
Maybe
this
that's why
also
she's not revealing who she is, right? Because we
Because she
we
might
still
want to
don't
try
know
it
who she
again.
is. Hey,
This also-
JT, I want to welcome JT.
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 What up, JT?
What's up?
What's up, Mr. O? We balanced now, huh?
Man, I like them frames you got on there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Hey,
thank you. I appreciate it.
Mr. O,
That's
that
good.
also proves that a lot of females today, a lot of modern women, have less regard for family, creating a family unit, and more regard for their self-interest. A lot of women are trying to fulfill more so self-interest than fulfill a family nowadays. That's what I think.
See, like, here's the thing: what people don't really realize, and I think the city girls gonna realize what they did later in life. They had a plan to go out and get money. All that stuff they sing about is not who they really are. This was just the modern day of walking down Sunset Boulevard.
Right.
Write these songs to get some money and to get a quick bag, but the effect it's having on the public and everybody and the women that's following them, they're gonna realize that they open up this Pandora's box that they cannot close back. And women are searching after these things because they see that what they see them women's life to be Cardi B and all, you know, Cardi B goes home to her husband. She does not go home to all this stuff that she's telling y'all not to do. At the end of the day, she knows the importance of a man, whether it be a underachieved man as far as like what a man should be. She still has one. And this is what's realizing what women are realizing now. Oh my God, I blew my best years. Let me try to get a bag. Let me chase something real fast. And what they're gonna realize is that it has an expiration date on all these little quick money grabs. Just like
Okay, so we're gonna get into that. Do you really think how influential is that hip hop community on women and how they move around? Like, or are they really just speaking to women who are really
you gotta look at it like this. Joe Biden didn't come out their bunker to do an interview with nobody but Cardi B. Why is that? The same reason they go to churches and talk to ministers that have mega followings. They know that if she says something, it's gonna move a crowd of people that's gonna equate to votes. And it controls the mass. If we are already in control, if black people spend the most and the women are in control of the most of the spending, then we already know who minds to grab. So they going out there grabbing the young minds of the young women who are already influential on how they spend their money to how they govern their lives. And they're gonna realize what they did when it's too late.
Go ahead, Jada. Good you say?
I said black women, they vote more than black men. So it's just like that's statistically proven. So they know if they got the black woman, they got the entire black community. That's just given. So and as women, black, white, whatever, you control over 70% of the consumer decisions in the country, right? Think about it. Like, when your husband going and get some groceries, not that he's going out getting groceries because you told him to. Oh yeah, we're out of this, X, Y, and Z. So it's just like you control the terms of currency that's going on in the nation. So they knew they got you, and that's the ignorance of our culture, honestly, because it's not really because unfortunately, we're in this whole gender war, the gender affinity wars, right? What's the problem? The problem is that the men claim that all the problems is the women. The women, they think it's all the problems the men. No, the problem is our culture. We became so ignorant. That's the problem.
They spitting fire, Jedi. Spitting fire.
The fact that they But
That's
the
why
fact
I'm a
that they
fan of
knew
setup.
that Cardi B's influence would have an effect on voting rights that should have been an indication to black people like something's wrong.
But how? But look how
Right?
ignorant that is.
Because why would you even want to?
He was in
I
a
don't
bunker
care. I don't
hiding,
care
and
who
he
Cardi
came
B
out
is.
and did an
I
interview.
don't care who
Right.
she want to vote for. Like I could care less who she want to
Exactly,
vote
but
for.
this
That
is
had nothing to do with why I'm voting. But it is some girls who she heavily influences, and they like to
and that's the
her.
problem.
That is something that they emulate or want to emulate, right?
Our
And
communities though are really like on YouTube and in the hip hop and dress. If you go out to the club, most of the guys dress like this. I got this on because I was outside today just running errands. I'm gonna change for my show, but like it's heavily influential by everything. Look how many people was running up on crates this summer. That was weird.
Come
Like I
on,
would
come
never do
on.
it. But they did it. Whatever you put out there to do, they gonna run out there, and a large amount of people
them
gonna go out
fools
there and
running on
spend their
that crate.
dollars.
I
That's
saw so
crazy.
many. I was like, the medical
It's stupid.
team, they never gonna have no problem,
If you ever tore an ACL before, you would never touch a crate like that.
never.
Man, I had
Happened.
Okay,
I ran
JT,
track. It happened to me.
let me hear it, JT. Let me hear your side. Do you really think that women try to trap men with money? Have you like experienced? Even if you don't have money, right? Like, do women try to trap men? Have you experienced that?
I experienced that before. Like I said, on both sides. Normally men are try to flex about what they have. Talk about what they have. But I've been in a situation where I was dating women before, and they were trying to let you know that they're very comfortable, and it not in the way they're gonna say they're gonna take care of you, but if you stay around and you stick with them, if just like a man oppress a woman, it's the same way. It's the same way women have tried to oppress men that's more financially stable. And I wouldn't consider it trapping though. They just letting you know where they at, that they financially real good in life, and they letting you know basically what they want out of life. So I've been on kind of both sides of it. Just
So you
I felt
haven't
like a
had a
woman.
woman
I felt like
actually
I felt like a
propose an
woman trying to.
economy.
What I'm saying is I've been on two different sides. I felt like the woman was trying to trap me, or just like trying to let me know that she got money. But then I've been on a situation where I was sitting there with a classy woman. She's grinding down. She's letting me know what she expect out of life. Questions actually like, what you expect the next 5 years in your life, throw you off guard like that if you're not prepared. But I've been on it on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So I felt how both sides of the situation was.
So you saying that she didn't physically do anything to make you like,
No, I've been on
get
that
you
too. Yeah.
pregnant, but she tried to manipulate you in a way where it would make you feel comfortable, where you would just impregnate her, or what did she do to try to trap you? That's what I'm
Oh,
trying to figure out.
I'm not telling about that, and I'm not going to give my information out like that. I mean,
Okay.
I had that happen before too, similar
Okay.
situation. But I'm talking about the women that just try to come on you, let you know that they got this, and they like if you stick around, they got you on some shit. Like I've been in that situation. Yes,
JT, people want to know where you from. Where you from? Where your accent from?
I'm from New Orleans.
New Orleans. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta know that if you're from the South. You
In the
got
Okay,
ninth
good.
He
ward.
I
provided
just
the
want to
package.
know. Somebody said
night
you
walk.
from. Is he from New Orleans? And I just wanted to
Indeed.
make sure you said.
He
Indeed.
supplied him with the
Yeah,
package.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
My
so Mr.
dad's side
Rucker.
of the
So
family from New
Mr.
Orleans.
Rucker actually had a woman who didn't want him to wear a condom, and she told him she was taking a pill, and he felt like she was trying to trap him. Have y'all like ever
Bingo.
experienced that? You don't have to explain the situation, just yes
Wait,
or
can you
no.
explain
Like,
that?
have
Can you say
y'all?
that again?
He said, Mr. Rucker said that a woman really just did not want him to use a condom and really was like insistent on him not using a condom. And
I've had that happen to me in the past, and when I
I,
was
I
younger.
I
But I
had that
got so
happen.
scared. I
Okay.
got so scared. I was like, no, this shit ain't happening.
right.
Exactly.
That
All right,
That's
look,
what Mr. Rucker
I'm
said he did.
I had that happen.
Yeah.
But I had that happen before, but I ain't gonna lie, I was reckless a little when I was younger. So I got experience with my pullout game. like for real, like on some shit. Like I knew how to pull
Okay, but
out.
you know
And
that's not effective, right?
That's how they get you.
hey, listen. It depends on how much experience you got. And like, I'm not trying to boast and brag. I'm serious. I had got comfortable when I was. You can shake your head all you want to. Well, I'm trying to tell you is I got experience with it because I was very reckless when I was younger.
Okay.
So I learned how to pull out in time.
Jedi, why you shaking your head? Because I know why I'm shaking my head, but go ahead, tell us why you shaking your head.
That's like saying, well, I should cancel my car insurance because I don't get in wrecks. Like that. Like, come on. Like, look.
All right,
This
hold
guy
on,
is
hold on,
wise.
Jedi.
He's
How,
so young.
how,
He's very wise.
Jedi,
Jedi is
how can
very
you sit
wise.
there and say that? Cause let me tell you something about me.
Yes,
That makes sense.
I started at a young age. All
Okay.
right. So me making kids probably wasn't knowing that the fact that it was going to affect my life in an older. But like I say, I got reckless with it. So you sitting there saying it like you trying to compare it to something else. But I'm sitting there telling you a life experience, and that's basically what I tell on most of these shows. My life experience. At one time, I was very reckless, so I learned how to pull out, so I didn't get trapped.
But then you're playing with
Right.
fire. Sir. Like, listen, I
But
understand
I
what you're saying.
was playing with fire. Yes, I'm telling you, I was.
But this is the problem with black men when they hear situations like this, because this is exactly the situations we complain about. Listen, I'm not, and I want to be very be very respectful to you, sir, because like, listen, that's your experience, and I'm glad that you basically the odds were in your favor, but not everybody have that luxury, and I'm saying it's life. Like, you see, when you have your cards dealt with you when you're playing with fire, you don't got to be burnt one time, right? And that's it. That's what I'm talking about. The whole you canceling your insurance, car insurance, because you don't get in wrecks. I only got to get in one wreck and it's over, no matter how severe it might be, right? So that's saying the whole the pulling out effect. That narrative, sir, I think is honestly is dangerous for especially young men like myself hearing that. They're thinking, oh, we can just do that. We don't have to. That's you. You can play with that, and that's your own body, sir. But I'm gonna say, like,
Well,
go ahead.
well,
What?
well, well.
Go ahead,
You know, aside from getting a woman pregnant, we got to take diseases into account as well.
Have to.
Like AIDS,
Okay,
herpes,
and
all that
look,
kind of stuff.
and
But
and
but
Be
but
part of the
also,
alphabet
but
crew.
see, that's why I told a story about my cousin. That was his plan to pull out, but she put the bear hug on his ass. You feel
Terrible
what I'm
plan.
That
okay,
bear
look,
hug,
hey,
that can stop you,
I'm gonna
right?
be honest with
saying?
y'all. Like when the first time I took a HIV test, I
Right.
was so scared because like I know I've been doing stuff wrong
How
and
many
stuff like that.
after
So
how many
I
years?
listen. I can keep it 100,
Do
and
you
this just me.
go ahead?
This just me, and I'm not trying to offend nobody.
You was
This was
young.
me being reckless.
No.
But what I'm trying to tell y'all is I was very reckless like that growing up, not caring. But I got lucky. I only got 3 kids. So like I
I was about
said,
to ask you how many children you have.
I only got 3 kids.
Were
I
any of
have
them the result of the pull-out method?
huh? The pull
Right.
out. Listen, the pull out
No,
method.
were
It
any
worked.
of your kids the result of a pull-out method?
No, it's not because I kept it in at
Oh,
the time.
okay.
So
So you
like
didn't.
that's what I'm trying to tell you. When
Okay.
you learn to spend, then you had your first kid, and you still out there little recklessness like that. Because I was still rolling them dice. I'm trying to tell you, I would just
Okay,
pull
but
out.
I don't want to, JC. I don't want to promote the pull-out method on
No,
my
Exactly.
I'm not
because
promoting.
I
Listen,
don't want
I'm
people.
not listen. Y'all ask me my opinion,
No,
and I try to keep it 100 with y'all. I was reckless like that at one time. Would I do it now? Hell no, because of the
right.
diseases.
That's
And
what
that's
I'm
what I was
saying.
trying to tell y'all. When I first took my first HIV test, I was scared because I felt like I was going to have something because I've been doing a lot of stuff. So, but when I first took my first test, I was happy when the results came back and shit like that. And it was so funny. The lady was prolonging the test, and she didn't want to tell me on the phone. But she didn't tell me that part because when you go in there for a test, an all blood test, they test you for a lot of stuff.
Right.
So the HIV test had to that got sent to the wrong place. But she told me about all the other tests. It was good, so I had to wait for the HIV test. So I was nervous, but when I found out I was negative and all that, that kind of, I'm a little older now. Now I want to be more cautious with my life, but
Yeah.
I didn't want to pay for my younger mistakes that I was making. And
Yeah.
if it happened, it happened, and I would have had to accept it. But when I found out that I was negative, that made me kind of be. And you got a little older now. Now you kind of more cautious because like women be out there giving you diseases that you can't shake.
Yeah. I mean,
Also,
and men do too.
going in,
Yeah,
going
well,
into
vice
sex,
versa. You know,
Men do
also
too. Because I mean,
going.
I have people
Okay,
who
go ahead.
have had devastating. So I get that point of, you know, making sure that you understand that there's not just pregnancy is the risk, it's also STDs, because a lot of people, they kind of miss that point. They be like, well, I do the pull out method, but do you protect yourself against other things? Especially if you out here being reckless, right? You don't really know your partner, y'all don't really have a commitment, like you just out here. That's also a fear, right?
right?
I mean, I know a girl who only had one partner and got herpes. You know, herpes
Damn,
you can't cure, right?
damn.
She was with him for several years, and he was in the Navy, right? He was away, and he came home, and she was committed to him for several years, right? Her only partner, and she's a beautiful girl. So when I would hang with her, men would always want to date her, always. And
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell them, but she was very good, clear about like she was very good about not, you know, whatever, doing whatever, right? But it was, men don't even know she was beautiful. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that most men would be like, oh yeah, I'll date her, right? Not even knowing.
Yeah, that's an awkward conversation. I mean,
It's a very awkward, and
it
she
has to
told
be
me,
said. Yeah.
she told men, when for me, she would tell them, you know, at some point, but you can't trust every person with that, because then people would go and, you know, say stuff and whatever. So she would really just not engage with guys because she knew whatever, right? Like she had outbreaks and she knew that she wasn't able to. But I know girls who do have it and they still sleep with men.
You know, men,
Beautiful women.
men
I
have,
think that's very selfish though, like on some stuff.
Yeah.
Constantly, like especially if you
But
know
it's
you have
something
it.
that men always say, well, I got the urge and I got the, but you need to, like Jedi mind trick, like Jedi said, I'm sorry, I said Jedi mind trick because I know the whole thing. But like Jedi Mike said, you guys need to practice restraint, because I think a lot of times we promote that men, you know, like y'all don't have a sense of, I guess, like restraint. Like y'all
discipline.
Y'all just right, no discipline. And I feel like we promote that. Like men should just, y'all should be out here reckless and y'all should not have no discipline and y'all should just do what y'all do because that's y'all nature and this, that, and the third. But do y'all think about those other things that could potentially happen? Mr. O, I can't hear you. Oh, okay. He not talking to me.
well, it's promoted that the more women we have sex with, the more manly we are. You know, that's
right.
promoted, especially in the Black community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, how many notches
I
under your
disagree
belt
with
you
that though. I kind of
What do
I
you say?
freeze it. No, I disagree with that because like, you know, like depending on the situation, different backgrounds, and like, you know, I'm still kind of on what Jedi said, like, because I think he took it like I was promoting it, but y'all asked me my experience, so of course, you
No.
know,
We're not. No, I'm not saying that you're promoting it. What I'm saying is
no,
that
he took it like not you, Tawana. He took it like I'm gonna get back to you with a freezer, but I gotta go back with Jedi said.
okay.
He took like when I was sharing my side of my story, what I experienced, and you know, at a time where I was very reckless at the time, and everybody laughed when I said I thought my pullout game worked, but it worked for me. Now I got 3 kids by 3 different women, but I didn't pull out at the time. Those kids were that just happened. But when I first was saying my story, he said something about black men that make it look bad. Look. Everybody got their story. Everybody got their lifestyle. Maybe you wasn't raised and born like that, but at one time I was doing reckless, careless stuff like that. But it took me to get a little older and start having a few more kids like that, and you know all that stuff. It took me to wisen up. And everybody's story is different.
Let Jedi respond, because I don't think he took it that way. But
No, but
No.
he didn't.
Go
He
ahead,
didn't
Jedi.
take it like that. But when I was saying something, he was ready to respond, and I couldn't even finish the story.
Okay,
No,
hold on
no,
1 minute. Let me let Jedi respond. But I want to bring my girl, up level professional, to this conversation, because we're gonna get into the finances of it and all this stuff, and she's like an expert. But hi, Kim.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, girl.
Okay, good. I'm over here struggle streaming. How y'all doing?
How you doing, Kim?
doing?
How you doing,
So,
Kim?
you come to
What's
these
up?
live
Hello, Kim.
streams, you just never know. Thank you
Prenup.
so much for
Mhm.
joining. I
Mr.
appreciate you.
Rucker.
We're
Hello.
getting into it. I don't know if you know everybody on the panel. Do you know Freezy?
I have seen Freezy before. What's up, Freezy? How you doing?
This is
How
Up
you doing,
Leveled
Kim?
Approach. Y'all got to follow her channel. She is dope. Like Up Leveled Approach. We're gonna put your link in the chat. Kim, put your link in the chat, okay, so people can follow you.
Will do.
But that's JT. Have you ever met JT, Kim? This is Kim.
How you doing, Kim?
It's JT.
I have not. Hey,
He is
JT.
How you
on
doing?
PYP show with me.
Mhm.
So I kind of
I've seen him.
I brought JT over. He's my favorite on the show, clearly, because he's like the relatable one. Everybody else is like too manosphere for me. I'm like, I don't know how but he's the one that's like level-headed for the most part, in my
Got you.
opinion. And Mr. Rucker, have you met Kim before? You've seen her on other platforms.
We
right?
talk in the chat all the time about
Yeah, I was
prenup.
gonna say, Mr. Prenup, he see you all the time. He's one of our like regulars. And Mr. O, I don't know what Mr. O back there doing. He having like a business meeting right now, so we're gonna let Mr. O have his meeting and Jedi
Okay.
Mike. So we talking about that Drake situation. Kim, do you know about that? Right? What happened with Drake?
With the hot sauce?
Yes, the hot sauce.
Girl, he was coming in
The
hot.
Baster
Hot
fiasco.
sauce, but it's brought me to this larger conversation of, do women really trap men? Like, is that a thing, right? And so the men are kind of sharing their experience about that. But I want to get your opinion from a woman's perspective, right? Like, is that something that happens? Because I know that, like me, literally, I've never done that in my life, like trap somebody. But
Same.
I know conversations of women who have done things, right?
Right.
So we're gonna talk about. I don't know if we're gonna give them too much game, Kim. Maybe we will. We'll give them a little bit. They've been kind of giving us some game a little bit, but let me let Jedi
All
respond
the game.
to JT, because JT talked about like the pull-out method and the effectiveness of that. And so JT responded. Jedi responded. So I want to let him respond to JT.
Okay.
Before we move forward. Go
It's
ahead,
getting
JT.
good.
Yeah, no, and I just want to retort to what you were saying, because like, yeah, I was kind of like shaking my head about it, whatever, and then because I didn't interrupt you, it was like Tawana just like, oh, hey, Jedi, what you have to say about it? When I was hearing it, the reason why I was shaking my head, because there's so many people my age that have that mentality, and no, you weren't promoting it, but I'm just telling you just terms of what people in my youth, when we watch videos like this or anyone talking about it, whether you're promoting it or not, when they hear the fact that you did not, like, the odds were in your favor, they think, oh, I got a chance. Not regardless of what you say that you're promoting or not. I'm just saying that's why I was kind of shaking my head, because it's really a myth, because you only can be wrong one time, and then that's the problem, where in these situations where we kind of have to think that that it was it was your choice, and you'll reap the benefits and consequences of that decision, which on your side you didn't have any consequences, as you didn't get any diseases or anything like that. And the children that you have, because that was my next question I was going to ask you. You said that you chose to have those children and it wasn't by accident or anything like that. So my thing for that, I wasn't saying you weren't promoting it, but when I was hearing it, I'm just saying guys my age, when they hear it and they say, oh, well, it worked for me, they're like, okay, then it worked for me too. No, that's not, and
Okay,
that's not on you.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you something right quick though, Jedi. How old are you?
23.
All right, I'm 35, so I'm in another different generation than you, and totally two different backgrounds. Like I wasn't playing with toys when I was supposed to be still playing with toys. So my whole point of saying that, and it may have came off like I
You
was.
grew up too fast. You grew up a little faster than.
It may have came off like I was boasting, but I was not boasting. We were both. I was asked the question, and the stuff worked for me. And whoever don't believe it, I don't care. I don't need to sit here and boast and brag about no body count and stuff like that. But I had a lot of experience, and I was very reckless at sometimes. And of that experience, well, hey, I could have been that one time guy that got AIDS, HIV. That's why I told y'all when I took my first test, and I'm talking about later in my life, coming in close to adult, not my teenager years. When I took my first test, I was nervous, real nervous, because I felt like, hey, I could have had something. I could have been carrying some all these years and stuff like that because I was gambling out there, playing around and stuff like that. So when it happened, that's why when I share my experience with people and stuff like that, I want people to hear it and take what they take from it. But
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here promoting any of that
Right.
for
No,
anybody because
sir.
of course
Yes.
you know everybody got consequences and everybody's story is different because you don't get the chances like I got. And I'm 35 years old. I don't have nothing to this day. I have a fiance and stuff like that. I have kids.
Right.
I have
And
two. I have two.
let me say this, JT, because before you, Mr. O, I'm gonna let you go ahead and speak after me, okay?
I gotta go.
But
just telling bye.
let me say this: that the pull-out method,
I'll contact you, bro. I'll contact you.
It has worked for me sometimes. Okay, it
All right,
doesn't work
Mr. O.
all the time.
All right.
But here's the thing: this is what I want you to know, though. Like when we're on these platforms, and like for instance, somebody asked me like, "What's your skincare routine?" And I told them Fenty, and then they went and got Fenty, and then it didn't work on them, right? So then they came and like, well, it didn't work for me. I'm like, well, you asked me what my skincare routine was. You didn't say. So, and no, it didn't happen. What I'm saying is that could potentially happen. What I'm saying is that anything we say on this platform, people will look at it like it's a representation of what we're promoting. It's not about thinking that I know what you mean. You're sharing your experience from your past and what happened, but regardless, it's gonna be like if I was like famous, like Wendy Williams style, like that, where I want to be one day, and you said that on the show, like they would be like JT promoting pull-out method.
That's not true. Hold on, Tawana. That's not true.
No, he was just being real. That you are.
No, look, you know what the problem is though. You know what the problem is. You start to meet a lot of fake people.
Yeah.
And they promote being more fake, and I can't be fake. I'm gonna tell you my experience. If it happened,
because
it happened.
A lot of us do the pull-out method. That's what they do.
I wouldn't advise nobody to do the pull-out method, but like I said, I got 3 kids and stuff like that.
Let me
through my experience.
You're done.
Look, JT, me too. I got 3 kids.
I think
so we can really tell them about
this the only thing. I'm gonna be honest. This the only thing it kind of bothered me because when I was talking, I'm looking at Jedi, and I may be wrong. I'm looking at his face like I can't believe this guy's saying that.
You're wrong. Hold
on. And like I'm telling you, I may be wrong from taking it like that because I'm like, hold on. If he came and he told me his story, I would like, okay, well, we come from 2 different lifestyles. I can guarantee we came from 2 different lifestyles. And then when he told me his age, it's totally 2 different mindsets. We 2 different years.
JT,
apart.
I think you was being real. I think you were just talking from your experience. You was being real. But
I think
where it got lost at when you were saying I got good at it too. It was like how can you get good at pulling out? It's like I think that's where it got lost at.
JT was like, I'm the king at this. I know.
I didn't say. Y'all add no word. I didn't say that. I said I got lucky. But with experience, I learned how to do it. And of course, it got passed. I had a lot of experience.
Go ahead, Jedi, because I want you to respond.
And listen, I just want to say this to you because, I also want to acknowledge something that you actually did that was good in this. What you're saying, I agree with Freeze. Like you were keeping it 100, and I respect that. Even then, in a situation when you got older now, you say you're about to get married, I believe, and you have children. You also look at terms of your past situations when you were younger and say, hey, listen, I don't want to encourage it, but also this is just now I know I'm more wiser with my decisions. So this is something what men my age can learn from. Listen to you, but when things that you were saying. Like I said, it wasn't while I was shaking my head, was in terms of you. It is I hear this narrative all the time. It wasn't specifically to say that here you go promoting again. I'm just like so many people in my generation right now. We think that because of that chance that you talk about or whatever, and I like I said, it was the odds were in your favor. People are just looking for that chance. But that's the ignorance of our community. Unfortunately, we just think, well, if there's only most people basically can get children, but at one time I might not. Okay, well, then it's fine. If I just practice enough, whatever, and that is not on you, sir. I'm just saying that that just turns our community that we're not being more wiser with our decisions. But I say I give you a props for what you're saying, that you learn better from your decisions, and now as you become as a father and about to get married, and anything, you are promoting better decisions. So I do respect that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I do
What
as
did you,
well. I do as
JT?
well. Go ahead.
What did you disagree with though? When I noticed you disagreed when I said
Oh no,
when
no. Oh,
I,
well, based on my experience, because you said this, what you said. And I might want to say, I don't want to say this wrong. You said men. How you said it, like with the body counts of women, that kind of made you feel like a man.
well,
That
it's promoted amongst men, especially in our community. The more women we have sex with, the more manly we are, or the more points we get. You know, the more clout we get, or whatever.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Like, cause like
Yeah.
maybe I see what you're saying now. Yeah, as a younger, you was bragging about it, but I never. I'm based on my experience. I never felt like more of a man because I was going out there, having sex with a bunch of different women and stuff
Yeah.
like that. That's why
But you know what, JT, though, in the culture, like with men, do y'all kind of promote the player, right? Like the man who got a
Right.
whole bunch of women, like high five them, like, yeah,
okay,
you
I see what
you
you're
got
saying.
a
Yeah,
bunch of
I see
chicks,
what y'all saying. Yeah,
right?
yeah. You probably
You
I
know
back then
that
you used to.
happens, JT. If you
Yeah.
got women, the man look at you like, oh, he the man. He got all
But
these
it's
beautiful
crazy.
women.
I've been away from that so long because like most of my inner circle now they married, so
Yeah. So now it's not
we
like
don't promote that. I used to promote it when we was younger.
Yeah.
We was younger, but like feeling like a man because I guess everybody different though.
Yeah, but that's still barbershop talk. That's still locker room talk. You know, it's still. I mean, that's what they do.
And you
You
know
know
what?
that,
And that's
JT.
where a lot of men mess up because they running their mouth to people that can't probably hold water.
Yeah.
So Kim, tell me what you think about like this whole trap thing. Do you think, but do we even believe this story from this IG model, right? She took the condom out the garbage and she tried to pour it in there. Like, first of all, you
I
can't really
believe it.
do that. Do y'all believe that? Like, do y'all
I
think that?
believe it. You
Because
said
I
I
think
came in
people
late.
don't. I'm
go
sorry, I
ahead.
was just gonna say.
Let me let Kim respond first.
Go ahead.
I
And I'll
just
tell you the story.
I think people don't understand like science and how things work. So I think like conceptually in her mind, she thought that it could just go in there and it just kind of doesn't work like that. But that reminds me of an episode of that TV show, The Game. It was probably like first or second season. And it was a girl on there. Did
I
y'all
remember
remember
that.
that? The
Yeah, I
turkey
remember
baster.
that.
So now that actually
I
can
ain't see
work.
that episode.
Depending on timing and how you do it, that could absolutely work.
Well, you know what? I talked about the statistics of turkey basting because that's what I kind of led to, right? So turkey baster, if people don't know, it's like artificial insemination. But what you do is you use the actual turkey baster utensil, kitchen
That's
utensil,
crazy.
and you really can suck up the sperm and you can insert it into your cervix so that it can get into your uterus, and that's what women do, because it goes directly into their uterus. So if you think about intercourse, just regular intercourse, there's a 15 to 20% success rate. But if you think about the turkey baster method, there's a 10 to 15% success rate. So if a woman gets that sperm within a 20-minute time frame, she could very well. So like, let's say you're at her house and you throw it in her garbage and you think you're safe, and she got the turkey baster in the garbage in the bathroom, and she just take it out and she gets you. She could, if it's within that 20 minutes, right? And some women know how to save it because you can save it as well, and it could last up to an hour. And if you have the proper equipment to freeze it, you can use it later and you can defrost it. So you don't know how crazy she is. She could have the whole freezer thing in her bathroom, right? If you're in her house. And some women can bring it with them and things like that. Women know how to do stuff, So after 6 tries, like let's say this is a woman that you frequent with, and you always use condoms, you think you're being safe. But she's doing the turkey baster method. After 6 tries, the success rate increases to 40%. So you can, I mean, it's really an effective way to get pregnant. Yeah.
You know what?
I never knew this stuff, man.
I came late to the show. So I didn't know y'all talking about Drake. This happened to Drake.
So Drake had so let me explain that situation to you. So Drake had this situation where he linked up with this IG model, and he took her back to the hotel, whatever. They linked up. And in the hotel, obviously he put on a condom before they engaged in intercourse. After they finished, he went to the restroom to discard of the condom.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently he put hot sauce in the sperm specimen, I guess, to contaminate it, right? So that she wouldn't really be able to use it if she wanted to. So that's kind of from what people say, that's his method of preventing women from being able to use his sperm sample. So he does that often. But this particular woman went in the bathroom after him and attempted to insert it in her.
I'm kind of confused. Like, why he didn't flush it down the toilet?
Right.
Like, I mean, I've been in situations.
Somebody said that.
I've been in situations like that, and right. I'm not Drake. I'm not Drake, but I couldn't believe that really happened. But if I was in that situation, the first thing I'm gonna do, like, hold on, let me. I'm gonna take care of him. No, I got it. I'm gonna put it and flush it down the toilet.
Somebody else
roll it up in tissue and flush it down the toilet.
Well, apparently he was still there when she did try to attempt to pour it in her or put it in her. It burned, right? Because there's hot sauce in it. You can't put that near that sensitive area like the vagina.
Okay.
It's not. You can't put anything like that. So it began to burn, and he comes in there and he's like, "Oh, I put hot sauce in the sperm. That's what I do." And told her, right, what happened, because she didn't know that there was hot sauce in there, apparently. But if it isn't the sperm sample weird color, like I would think that if you see hot sauce in it, you would know something ain't right with it. But whatever.
Man, that girl didn't care. That she felt like that came from Drake. Like, it could have been purple. She still was gonna put it in there.
So that happened. So that supposedly happened, and so now she wants to allegedly sue him because she just had some, I guess, medical.
That's crazy too.
Result.
So I think she lose that case though.
But yeah, I don't know that part.
We don't know.
But I don't know that part. But I just know that that's what happened. So that brought me to a conversation of, do women really try to trap men with money? And I really want to hear Kim's perspective on this, because I've heard y'all, the gentlemen, y'all all think that they do.
Yeah. I think they both do. I think men and women do.
Right. That's another, like, I need to have a whole show on how men trap women, but we're gonna talk about. So you know how people always say I try to change the goalpost? I'm trying to stay on the point of, okay, do women do it, right? Because men always be like, well, Tawana, you try to change the goalpost and everything. Okay, I'm gonna stick with the women on this particular point. What do we do to try to keep men? Not that it doesn't happen on the flip side, but what do women do? Jedi, go ahead. I know you have something to say.
No, yeah, I have to go. Yeah, I need to see
ahead.
the back chat, whatever. But yeah, no, this was fun, y'all. It was a pleasure meeting y'all. I hope to talk to you guys soon.
Pleasure meeting you. I know we have to talk about some stuff, so you're gonna have to come back so we can have a conversation, and like it'll just be me and you, Jedi, where we can kind of talk about everything you need to talk about, like get the questions out.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, we'll talk.
Hey, nice to meet you again, though, bro.
Nice to meet you,
yeah, man. No, it was good,
man. For dropping in.
Yeah, Freezy, man. A pleasure meeting you, man. Mr. Rucker, nice to see you again. Kim, I hope to talk to you soon. Nice meeting you. But yeah, y'all take care. You stay blessed, okay?
Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Okay. All right, Kim, go ahead. What do you think about this whole?
It is super heavy. Now, have I heard women doing this? Of course. Do I know any personally? No. No, I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate that. Yeah, nobody in my circle really is kind of getting down like this. It's really interesting because I think on like a psychological level, I don't think women think beyond having the baby and getting the check, right? But like psychologically, what does that do to the relationship with the guy, with the child? Because that child got here under a duplicitous method. It wasn't like you guys were both engaging and something happened and you decided, okay, I'm going to keep the child. Like, that's theft to me. Like, you were stealing DNA. And so it gets weird. And Tawana, I know you don't want to move the goalpost, but I actually
Go
know
ahead.
someone
No,
that
go
told me a
ahead.
story.
Yeah.
She's dating somebody in college, and he was poking holes in the condoms. He was. So I think that it is men and
Did it
women do
work?
it.
Kim, did it work though?
It did not work, and she
Okay.
actually
Good.
found out it didn't work. But like, it's kind of creepy, and I'm trying to think of a more intelligent word. It's like an obsessive kind of spirit, an obsessive kind of mindset to like want to make someone reproduce. And you guys haven't even had the conversation, or maybe you have, and they didn't say what you wanted them to say, and you was like, "Well, I'm gonna do it anyway." Like, how do people think that's really gonna turn out?
I think that people think that the baby will fulfill some kind of void or bring them love, right? Or
Mhm.
it will also make a man commit, maybe, or
Mhm.
make
Or check.
or make the other person commit. So if the man is with the woman and maybe she got pregnant, of
Mhm.
course she's more willing to accept you as her partner because it's like, well, I'm pregnant, and pregnancy is tough, right? So you
Yes.
don't want to experience that alone. You want to partner with you. And so if you don't really have a supportive partner and if you trick him, the child will suffer because the
Yes.
man is not going to
Yep.
be active,
A
right?
man, a man is not gonna stay because you had a child
He's not.
with that.
At all.
If that man don't see you as that type of material and that woman, he's not gonna stay. He'll try his best to have a relationship with a child and stuff like that. But it trust me, if the woman is making it hard because she's still basing her feelings and her emotions, that's gonna push the man away from the child and the woman. So I
Yeah.
mean,
I think
honestly,
Freezy, what you think about that? Because like I agree. Do you think that like but do it work sometimes? That I guess that's what I want to ask y'all. Because I feel like that's why women do it.
They I feel like they think it works, and I think it depends on the outcome, right? Because if the outcome is financial, it's absolutely going to work. You're at least going to get a check, right? So it depends on the outcome. Now, if they're trying to play the
Facts.
long game and they're trying to be risky and think, oh, this will make him commit, I mean, I'm sure it has a probability of working, but it's just not high enough. Like, the outcome does not justify the risk that you have to take, because you risk not only having to be a single parent by choice, but you also risk having somebody and their entire family hate you.
yeah.
Like, that's when people start being like, I hate you. And it's like
Right.
legitimate because you're stealing. That's
Nobody
stealing.
wants to feel tricked.
No,
Nobody
Well,
not at
wants to
all.
feel.
this is
Go
this
ahead,
is
Freezy.
where I side. This is where I side with Mr. Rucker on his mentality on issues like this. Men have to understand, going into a sexual relationship with a woman, you have to already know, women already know in their minds, they can tell that they can see the future. If they do get pregnant, they already know the family courts are going to be more friendly with them. If they have a child, the pressure is going to be on the men more when it comes to financial obligations and stuff. When women have a little bit of a cushion going into these situations, so it's kind of like less pressure. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So we have
Right.
to look at it from that
You're not
standpoint
wrong.
too. So
So,
and
Tristan,
also,
Tristan
okay,
said,
go ahead.
"Isn't it called non-consensual insemination?" Yes, it is. But Tristan, one thing that I read about was that it's very difficult to prove. Right? It's very difficult to prove, and so yes, men may be able to be like, "No, she did the turkey baster," but a woman would almost have to admit to it, and a lot of women will not admit to that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pick
Especially if
proper.
you guys have had intercourse, what they will say is that, like, oh, the condom must have broke, or like there's some other reason
yeah,
why
they ain't gonna never
they
admit to
got
that.
pregnant,
Yeah,
right?
you can't
So
pinpoint it.
that it is a thing, non-consensual insemination, but it is so difficult to prove. Like, you damn near have to have a video in the bathroom or in a private area to catch her in the act of doing
Do it.
it.
or have some hot sauce.
That's right. Or
But
had
that
that
just
hot sauce
Have that
like
camera.
Drake did, right?
but
Now he got
I
proof.
want to comment on what Kim said. She said well, the women in her circle, they don't do stuff like that. How will you know though? If they do, they won't never admit to it. You know what I'm saying? You can't really
I mean,
say that.
that's a fair point, and I think I said
Yeah,
that confidently based on the other things that they don't lie about.
yeah.
But I mean, you never know really what people
You
do
never
behind
know.
closed doors. But I mean, I'm like 99.99% sure that they're not, just kind of based on other things and just kind of based on the fact that like
Well, you know
nobody's
your friends. I know.
mysteriously popped up,
Yeah.
pregnant.
I'm pretty
Everybody that's
sure,
had a
right? Like
baby is,
I don't even have friends that have kids. Really, like I'm the only friend with kids, so I'm pretty sure my friends are not doing that because they would have already
Yeah.
had children, right? Like if you really wanted to trap somebody, that would have been the thing. I think that most women who are truly just trying to partner do not want to trick you into partnering. They want it to be like consensual, understanding, and like this is a decision we both have made. Because I will tell you that it is difficult to have a baby with a man who wanted the kid, let alone somebody that don't. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't mean to talk about men, but let me tell you, it's
No,
hard
you're right though, Wanda.
to have
Some men,
children.
some
It's
men
hard to
might
be
get you.
pregnant by a man who really is supportive. It's
yeah,
very
because it's a hard
difficult.
process.
So
Ooh.
if you think,
Wait, I'm confused here.
go ahead.
I thought you want the man to be supportive.
You do.
If you get pregnant,
I do, but it's still hard.
I think what she
Her
was saying
kind
is
of
that
support.
it's a hard no. What she's saying is in general, whether you have support or not, some days it's just hard.
Yep.
Some things happen, it's just difficult. So what she's saying is it's already a difficult process, but adding on the layer of that person not wanting
Yeah.
to be there or that person being there in a dishonest situation, that can make it even worse. That's what she's saying. I
That's
mean,
oh
right.
yeah,
I
some
agree.
days
I agree.
depend on like you say his situation. Like if you was in a situation and you was with a woman and then you was messing around, then a chick call and tell you, "Oh, I'm pregnant." Now you coming out telling her, "Hey, I got a whole family. I can't deal with this shit and all that." You talking about it, but I'm gonna support you. That's what y'all talking about.
just it's hard carrying another human being, and each pregnancy is different and different stuff goes on. So I think she just means like it's just difficult. So when you
Yeah.
have somebody on your side, you still have bad days. But
Yeah. I
like how
mean,
many more
just
bad
being
days will you
pregnant.
have if he's not on your
Right.
side?
Right. Like being pregnant is it's hard on your body. You go through all these emotions.
Mixed
Yeah.
And
emotions. Yeah.
honestly, men don't even know how to 100% support you during that time because it's difficult for them too. They like this lady.
Cause
I wanted brownies.
y'all back and forth. Like you try to
Yeah, we
support,
back
then
and
she
forth.
give you attitude, then you back off, and
But
now she give you attitude from backing
That's
off.
what I'm saying.
it's
Like
hormones
this
though.
is a
Like
man who knows you and
right.
loves you, right? That's
Yes.
Right.
really struggling with supporting you. So imagine if it's a man who don't barely even know you and you taking him through all those emotions and how he's not going to even want to be a part of it because men who love you, they stick around because they love you, but it's tough for them. Like men will tell you, I'm sure my husband will come down here and be like, yeah, that was tough. Like, cause I wanted brownies, and then next thing I want some flaming hot, and then I want this, and then I need you to do this and that. I'm like, you got so many wants and needs when you
Like I
pregnant.
know what you're saying. Like
So
we go get you McDonald's, right?
yeah,
And then you're like, "Oh, I don't want that.
I don't want that.
Go give me some ice cream." I'm like, "I was just out. Why you didn't tell me to get the
Yeah,
ice
I don't
cream on
want
my way
and
out?"
it's like
Because we didn't know.
I really want it. And so I
Um,
mean, I can get emotional because I need it right now and you don't want to go get it. And you know that's it's a lot that goes on. So I'm saying you definitely don't want to trick a man because then it's like no guarantee that he's going to support you in the way that you need to be supported. I think sometimes women who haven't had babies, they don't know how much support and it may be me because like I've had support. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine not having support in that situation. I always be like, hats off to the women who really have been through that without a man, or a supportive partner, or even a mother or father, or
yeah.
people who can support you. Some people really do it alone. And I'm like, I couldn't. That would be the last time. That would be the only time. I couldn't even imagine if I didn't have support doing that. So I think that it's important to say that the right structure and support should be in place if you do want to have a child and not just do it in a way that manipulates the man and he doesn't know that that's what the intention is, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of men, y'all know what the act of having sex and not using a condom will do. But then
Well,
when it
women and
happens,
men know,
okay,
because it
yes,
takes two. It
it takes
takes
Right.
two.
two. So
I will say
trust
that.
me.
I will say
You have the
that.
power to say
But what
no.
I'm saying is,
Oh, yeah. Kim about to get started. Go ahead, Kim. Kim about to
what
say
I'm
something.
saying is though, some men will still blame the woman, even though they both engaged in the act, and that's what happened. This is the result. Some men are like, you knew what you was doing, but did you not
Yep.
know what you was doing though? What? Why is it that it's so one-sided, and men believe that women are in more control of this situation? And Mr. Rucker, I know you haven't spoken in a while. I kind of want to hear what you got to say about that.
Speak
Yeah,
up. Speak
I'll say
up.
it real quick. Yeah, that's pretty dumb too. I'll say it real quick because my battery's about to die anyway. The reason why it's so much pressure on the women because y'all have more choices when it comes to protecting yourself than men. We only have to use rubber, and if we use a rubber and all of a sudden you become pregnant, then why didn't you use these other things? You knew what you were doing. You have more options compared to men. So you have the responsibility and the power also to say no. No means no, right? If you say no to a man, normally he would just shut it down, be like, okay. He may just say why, and you can tell him whatever, or you just say I don't feel like it. He'll shut down for the most part.
Yeah.
So like, why don't y'all just say, you know what? I got more options. I wanted to have a baby. I thought you would be the man, so that's why I didn't tell you these things, or that's why I quote unquote trapped you. So most women are not going to say that. It's just going to be like, well, you knew what you were doing, so it's just back and forth. But women have more options, and you have the power to say no.
More options as far as
Say no to what
Yeah,
though?
you
Say no
saying
to
say
that
no
what?
to sex.
go ahead,
Say
go
no to
ahead.
sex. Just say
I'm
like, okay,
confused here. I
Wait,
thought
no, just
like
say
when
no to sex. If a man makes an offer, he's doing his thing and stuff, he can just say no and be like, okay. A man might say have a follow up saying, okay, well, okay, why no? A woman could just say no because I said no. That's it.
I,
That's
I'm
shut down.
I'm kind of confused because I thought we was past that point. I thought we all both was on agreement that we was here to have sex, and I'm trying to see how you sit there and say the woman can control that situation if we both interacting in it. I think it's a
Yeah, but women
50-50.
can. Yeah, but women can stop it though. They can stop it like in the middle of like making out and things happen. She could just say, no, 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 no. That should be it. They have the power to do that.
hmm.
That you know
Women
what
don't mislead.
that sound like a movie type. You know what it is to me? That
You wait, but
sound like
wait, let me see this, JT. But he's saying that men don't have the. So you're saying that midway through, men cannot say no.
No, men can say no. If they don't see something, anybody can say no. But women have more options as far as birth control too. So you could say no because I don't have this, so let me do this. Women have more options. We just have one option: condom. If we don't have a condom, then yeah, we know what we're doing after that. But men that have condoms and after that you still get pregnant, we're looking at you like you know what you were doing because you have more options.
Yeah.
Mm,
Women control sex.
Oh,
Yes,
mm,
okay,
women
so
do control sex.
let me get your opinion, Kim, because I,
I,
I don't know how
I,
I feel about that.
I got to talk this out. Okay. Because I hear what he's saying. But I feel that like two people should be on like one accord. So this is really where I'm like people should like know their body. I think it's very important for women if you are in a space or you are in a relationship and like you don't want to conceive, there are days of the month where you can engage and you won't conceive, right? I also think it's good to have conversations with your partner. And I mean, you are assuming a risk if you are sleeping with someone and you guys don't have a relationship to where you can have all these conversations and do all this
Facts.
stuff. But like I can't say that it's necessarily the onus is on the woman because it's on the man as well. And I think it's on the man to ask certain questions. Are you ovulating? I think that's a very valid question for a man to ask a woman. And if she doesn't know, then perhaps that's not the woman that you need to be sleeping with if you don't want to have children. So I think it goes back and forth. I think it's equal. I don't want to say blame. I want to say equal accountability because even though men have like one or two options, those options are pretty high. And if you kind of read anything, no birth control is like 100%. It's all 99. So that's why it's recommended to combine it with other methods, right? You use a condom and you pull out. You use a condom and you pull out, and she's on birth control and she takes Plan B. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a combination of things. So that's why I'm having a hard time saying or wrapping my mind around the fact that women have more options and this, that, and the third. Like, there are valid options on both sides. I just don't think that people have the conversations they really need to have. And it's like, if you know for sure you're not trying to have a baby, then like both of you guys got to really be on your A game. That's how I feel.
Shouldn't it just be like whoever the person is who doesn't take precautionary measures is the one more at fault, whether it be a man or a woman? Like, if a man does not use any protection, it's like, okay, it's clearly most of your fault. But if a woman doesn't do anything, it's mostly her fault.
But at the point, though, of conception, who cares about faults? Because it's here, it's coming, unless you do something else to, enter to counteract that. So, I mean, again, these are conversations, though, that you have to have, because in a situation where life is created, there's no need in placing blame. Like, it's done. So
yeah, you're right. After
50%,
that, well,
who had 75%, at that point, it is what it is, unless you make a decision to where that's not what you want to do and you don't want to go forward. But I think instead of being reactive, when it comes to this, we got to be proactive. And it's funny, Tawana, because when I heard this topic, it made me chuckle a little bit, because I'll hear guys and I don't know if I'm about to contradict myself, so y'all call me out if I am, but
I will.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it. They'll be with the woman, right? And they'll just both be engaging in just risky sex, and they just ain't doing what they need to do. And then she pops up pregnant and he's like, oh, you trapped me. I'm like, but you guys have a habit of like not doing what you need to do. And all of a sudden something happens and it's like, oh, you're trapped. And it's like, oh, or could it be that you just weren't making good decisions? So I just think that's really ironic. But
yeah.
Once a life is conceived, we got to get off of the blame. Let's just have the conversations and do what you need to do before. Like, if you're a man and you know for sure you don't want to have kids, then like, what you always got to do. Also, did you guys know that vasectomies are reversible? Did y'all know that?
Yes.
I know now.
They're so, I mean, literally.
How effective is it in the reversal? Because I don't know. I know that they are reversible. It is.
Tawana, it's in the 90s. They literally, it's a tube called vas deferens, and they literally just clip it to where the fluid doesn't go all the way through, and then they can just unclip and do something magical, and because it's a tube, so it goes back.
Create a tube.
It goes back, and so I'm just like, that's interesting, because if you don't want to have kids, have a vasectomy, and when you're ready to have kids, then have it reversed.
I think this is a good question. Why do women exclude the man in understanding child rearing and birth? The seed comes out of the man. We care too.
Well, certain men care. I mean, like it depends on the maturity of the man. Like, if you catch it, if you call me younger, I may have told a chick, hey, go have an abortion, and I know that's wrong.
Right.
And all that. I'm not gonna sit there and say you trapped me. If I knew I was playing foul, I'm not gonna sit there and tell a woman, oh, you trapped me. If we both was in a mix of doing it, knowing I didn't protect myself, knowing she didn't protect herself, I'm not gonna sit there and say you trapped me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit there. First thing I might say, make a immature mistake, say go have an abortion. And that woman might not want to have an abortion, because how certain women feel about, killing kids and stuff like that and stuff. But I was still kind of confused. I feel like when you pass, on what Mr. Rucker said, because that sounds like if a woman has that control and then a man still tries to go forward, that's rape, because she tell you no and you still go forward. But if we in the action and we doing it now, right? So I think it's still both of y'all have the control.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta know if you out there, if you don't have a condom on, you gotta know to pull out, and y'all interacting, or vice versa, or just stop it. So we both are at fault right there when we make that commitment, especially we having sex without a condom.
Yeah.
I think and people don't sit there and talk about how they have it in the movies. Oh, let's sit there and have a child, and and prepare this and all that. And
Plan it.
people don't sit there and do that. A lot of people out here, especially growing up where I'm from, you got a lot of you gonna have a lot of step kids because some of these women was out there making reckless decisions. It's vice versa, same thing with the men was out there having these kids out of wedlock. And now when you get older, you realize the headache, the frustration you got to deal with, and then on top of it, the parents, because you don't even know. I don't even know her parents, so now I got to deal with her people. Now she got to deal with my ignorant people, or vice versa. It's a lot of stuff dealing with where you sitting there and not thinking about the time you just trying to have a good time or feel good.
Right.
So yeah, of course, you learn with experience.
Or you
But
can
I
have
just think
kids
it's
through
both.
wedlock and still be having to deal with those challenges.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
it's different though, because that's like it's a little different though, and you still agree, but this is your wife and this is your husband, and families got to understand that. And if they don't understand that, that means that man is not putting his family in place, or that woman is not putting her family in place. And when this becomes your wife, that's totally different.
So, Freezy, go ahead, because I know you didn't respond yet.
I think what Mr. Rucker was missing was women do have more options as far as birth control. I understand what he was saying, but what he's missing is the response. We talking about responsibility. Who does it fall on? It falls on the man and the woman. We're talking about responsibility, right? And also, we're forgetting that you can be abstinent. You don't have to have sex with this woman. Nobody forced you to have sex with this woman. Abstinence is a form of birth control too. We learned this.
That's right.
So I think that we have to keep that in mind. We can't just get into this space where men are placing more so the blame on women when we are the leaders in the community. Yeah, just because I put on a condom doesn't make me the most responsible person.
Right.
It doesn't, we have to remember that.
I agree. I think that a lot of people discount the man's choice in the matter. But like you said, maybe promiscuity is promoted amongst men a little bit more than it should be. And I think the Jedi made a good point as far as like men having restraint and being able to determine, like, I don't have to sleep with every woman that shows me attention or gives me this, because I think men just like automatically feel like I can let me get with every woman that give me the attention, or any woman that I want. I'm just gonna lay down with her, and they don't really think about the consequences of having children out of wedlock and potentially how that can affect. I mean, especially in the hip hop community, you see there's men like Lil Durk. He got 6 kids. 6.
I thought it was 9.
Yeah, it might even be 9. Like, I know there is so many men with, like, who is that? The Future, like 4 and 5 baby mamas, and this culture of having multiple children with multiple women is like, it's happening. It's right there. And so, what about those? So, like, what about those examples of men who are clearly demonstrating that I have this money, right? I have money, so now I can have children with 4 and 5 different women. So
that's still not right. But it's how you was taught.
This idea of being trapped.
I don't think it's really like kind of promoting. It's kind of like it's a culture like where you come from, and if you're around that and you see that and stuff like that, and you experience things at a young age, all that plays a factor in some of the decisions you're gonna make, especially if you start having sex at a young age. And some people, like, I'm gonna be honest, if I could go back and do something, I would say, hey, I'll be more disciplined. I wouldn't have all these kids or something like that. I wouldn't have made the mistake that I made with certain women being reckless, vice versa, and stuff like that. But people grow up in different areas, and that if that's what you're accustomed to and where you from, that's what you nine times that's what you're gonna normally do. And it happens often. That's why it's a lot of child support.
Okay, so they're accustomed to what? Just having sex with any woman they want, or using children as a way to solidify the relationship?
All the above. I mean, men trap. You know what's crazy? Men will trap a woman at a young age. Oh, she got pretty hair. Oh, she got that baby making hair. I mean, you used to hear stuff like that and stuff,
Very
especially
much.
coming up in school. It's like I'm trying to tell you, like
Like
when I
I've heard that plenty of times. Like,
right,
oh,
and
my
like
kids will have
and
a
like I
man.
said, men at a young age, we were reckless. We didn't think about that. Oh, that gives you the reason just to birth a child. You're not even nowhere really in your career, in your life. You still a child. You out here, oh, I'm gonna make a baby. You just reckless like that. And I just think everybody on this panel probably come from a little different background. That's why I'm okay to talk about my situations because it happened to me, and now I'm in my situation. I'm in a whole another better situation, but I had to go through the experience of having kids out of wedlock and deal with those responsibilities that I made.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for sure. Because I will say this: I don't have kids out of wedlock, so I don't understand that experience. But I've witnessed it my entire life, and I've been in an environment where that's happened, and it's normalized, and that's what we do, right? Like, it's okay to have a child. Some women have them on their own without the support of a man, or we don't even know who the father is. Sometimes we just know it's a baby around. So that is a culture that that I've seen and that happens. But I want to talk about like those men, like I just mentioned, Kim, like Future with all those baby mom, like he has several baby mamas and children. And what about Lil Durk? He has, they said 9 kids. I didn't even know he had 9. I thought it was 6. But
I might be wrong.
Lil Durk has 9 kids. I mean, I know he's engaged now. So I mean, I'm sure she gonna have kids. So that's gonna add to the children. I mean, there's a lot of celebrities or men with money. So I'm looking at celebrities like, okay, these are the men that women try to trap, right? The baby has what? How many kids? Like they all have so many. Some of them, not all. Some of them have so many children
Where they get all these kids from?
because they're
They
sleeping
getting
with
them.
every woman that
Nick Cannon, he has 2 a year.
Yeah. Nick
Damn.
Cannon. Nick
They be
Cannon's
pregnant at
gonna
the
have. He's
same
gonna have at
time.
least 20 kids before the end of next year, I'm sure, because
Yeah.
he doesn't. He's not really monogamous, so he's just having children with whatever woman he's involved with. Sometimes the women are pregnant at the same exact time, so men can populate so quickly, especially if they have multiple partners. Whereas women, we have to at least wait 9 months, right? Have the baby, then it's time, and then so we can maybe have one baby a year, but can we have more than one baby a year? If we get twins or triplets or whatever. But if you, other
Y'all
than
gonna have
that,
them back to back though, back to
you
Yeah,
can
you
back.
can
have
have
them
2
back
in a
to back
year. You can have 2
every
in a
year.
calendar year. That's the
Yeah, you can
max.
have
Because
one every
when
year.
you just y'all still be very fertile after you just got pregnant, so that's
Well,
the
I
most
know
easiest way
my listen.
to
My
get pregnant.
grandmother had 9,
But
9.
I think what
So I
I
know.
don't think, to answer your question, to one, I don't think they thinking like I got money so I can have how many kids you want. Because if you think like that, that's just a reckless way to spend money, and that sounds like child support. Because you can't be with all those women. You're gonna be giving out a lot of money to a lot of people, and I salute them when you financially stable like that to dish out money like that. I wouldn't want to do it, but I just think you be caught up in the moment, and it's just their background that they come from. And some of these guys y'all probably talking about before they had got famous, they probably had a few kids already.
Well, I'm like I've done some like research and just like listened to a lot of Nick Cannon, right? And he didn't have any kids before he had kids with Mariah. Those were his first children. He just
Mhm.
has a specific type of mindset. He thinks it's akin to some things that were going on in ancient Kemet. And I really would love and hope and encourage him to do more research because he not right, but he ain't. He's not wrong, but he ain't all the way right either. But I
What's his
think,
mentality about that though? What is he
yeah,
saying?
so he's just kind of talking about, our ancestors were not monogamous, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. But what I think people who like cherry pick and they pick and choose, and I mean, to an extent, we all do this. I mean, there were like a multitude of different like types and structures of relationships. So I think for him to just kind of pick that one and just kind of run with it is a little bit inaccurate because that was like not the only thing that was going on. And you have to also give it historical context. I mean, if you're talking about starting like a culture of people, yeah, men are going to have multiple because they, you need more people, right? But like, it's interesting because he absolutely has his children on purpose, and he kind of handcrafts and handpicks the moms and kind of does his thing. Little Wayne has a thing too. He has children with women of multiple races because
That's
he wanted
right.
to have children with women that just were all different types of ethnic backgrounds.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little psychology that goes there. Like, some of those guys, some of them are just being reckless, but some of them are being very intentional on what they're doing. And I challenge them because, yes, it's great. I know the moms are taken care of. I know the kids are probably taken care of, but like, the time, because you have to build that equity and you build it in time. And like, Nick Cannon has a million jobs. Does he have the time to consecutively spend with those children? Do they know him? Do they know
He
his
got the
smile?
money.
Do they know? But that's not enough. And it's important and it's a
You're right,
lot.
but to him, he might feel that's why he do it. Like you said, they picked a different ethnic. He got a lot of money, so if he choose to spend his money that way, because he got a lot of money going different places, but he got money coming in. I mean, to the average man, you don't want to make that type of decision, and they still do it though.
Yes,
They
And
but
it's
still do it.
that's
interesting
what
because
I'm saying. Do this promote this whole idea of trapping, right? Because then it's like women who see this, they like, well, men are, they out here with all these different women. Adding one more is not going to make a difference, and I'm secure for life. They
Right.
see having
That
the baby
that's a goal.
as a sense of, I don't really got to get married. He's going to have to take care of this baby and therefore take care of me. It don't always work out that way, because
Right.
a lot of women really have to go through a lot to get those child support checks and payments.
Mhm.
And they think that it's like a bag and it really is not worth it. But in some cases, it works out for the better. So then women are taken care of. They live a lifestyle that they wouldn't normally live. And so if you see men like this who are just having babies with multiple women, is it promoting this idea that this is what men are useful for?
I think a lot of the reason why men do it, and let's break it down to its simplest form. I know Kim talked about Nick Cannon and Kimmett and all these. Though to me, those are like,
Successful people.
yeah, but to me, those are PR responses. To me, I break it down in the simplest form. I know niggas that's impregnating women just because they have control issues. They doing it to have a permanent relation, some kind of permanent connection with the woman, some kind of permanent connection with the woman. So they're gonna plant a seed in the woman. They're
Right.
always going to get a phone call. The woman is always going to have to communicate with them. So to me, it's just as simple as that. I know guys like that. They doing it.
That's facts, Freezy. That's absolute facts. I think that's like the mindset behind it. Because remember, I was talking about just like, it has to be. I'm not going to say something psychologically wrong because I do not have a background in mental health, but it's like a behavior. It's like a psychology behind, like you said, wanting to have that level of control. So you're going to control something that should be not only a mutual decision, but you're going to control something that's supposed to be wonderful and great and beautiful, right? Like, how many people get here under circumstances that are just dark and, just, real whatever. But like, you have the power to not do that and you do it anyway. I do think that there is something in your mind that is off balance and it's not right, because it definitely is control, because the woman has control over the man, and then in turn the man has control over the woman, period.
Yeah, having a baby is the wrong way to try to control somebody. It's so much tension and drama that can happen as a result of that. There was one case where there were two friends who agreed to have, a baby together, but they did not want to have intercourse because they just were friends. And so they decided to use the turkey baster model. And they did that several times and it just didn't work. And so then she tried to go to a clinic and do it, and then it wasn't successful. So then they again tried the turkey basted method again, and it actually worked. And she got pregnant. After she got pregnant, she decided she didn't want him to be a part of the child's life. And so, because they didn't have intercourse, she thought that maybe she would be able to prevent him from having visitation rights. And his name is Robert Broadwine. You can look him up. There's a story it happened Eventually he ended up fighting for rights and he got joint custody, because he wanted the kids. So he knew about it and he knew what was happening. Like he was basically providing her with the sample, the semen sample, and she was, inserting herself, and they were agreeing upon doing this, right? Because that is, if you don't have the money to go through a clinic, that is the cheapest way to do it, right? To insert yourself. And so there's these whole dynamics that happen where, okay, after this happens, there's a custody battle or there's a fight, and some men don't really fight, right? They don't want to fight because they don't really want to be a part of the kid's life. But it's some men who really do want to be a part of it. So I guess when you do this untraditional thing and you have kids and you explore these options, how does it affect the children? Do people think about that? So when
Do the women think of that though, Tawana? Do the women think of that? Because you just gotta understand. I heard you say, yes, they have certain cases where the man doesn't want to be a part of the child life, but they have situations where the woman is making it hard for the man to be part of this child life because she still got her feelings on why they didn't work out. If you
Wow,
come to a woman,
this is great. This is great. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Go ahead, JT. This is great.
and it's the thing about this because, like I said, most of my stuff I based off experience. I dealt with the child support situation and all that, and I felt in one of my situations that it just because I wasn't with her, it was making it hard on me, and they came to a point like I was like, man, fuck both of them. I'm talking about the child and that, but not my child being so innocent, not knowing, but it was just hard for me to have a relationship with the child and stuff like that because I did not want to be with the woman.
And she was making it difficult for you to see your child because you didn't want to be with her.
I didn't want to be with her. And I'm just saying, like, a lot of men sometimes be trying, and it just depends on what situation. And then, of course, you got to understand that affecting that they can't see their child. Every time an argument appears, they pull a child out your life. The child is the pawn. Now, you might be going through life still stumbling, getting to your life because, once again, you had a child out of wedlock. You wasn't ready, but kids come, and you can't stop when a kid coming when you're making those decisions and stuff like that. So, you going through life, you going through different things, and now you got this, you got that strain on you. Now if you being affected around all the other stuff. So like I disagree with that because I feel like they got more men out here that's trying to be part of their kids' life, no matter the situation, than the men that's not trying to be.
So I have something to contribute. So as far as like the untraditional way of getting pregnant, there are a lot of couples that are lesbian couples or maybe transgender couples that kind of do that method. Hey, Daryl. But what I tell people is like, we live in a very litigious society. Even marriage is litigious. It has some legal background and covering. So it just would make sense. Like, okay, maybe you don't have the money to go to the clinic, but at least get the money together to go to a lawyer and figure out the whole parental thing, right? Because I feel like when you are proactive in things like this, you fare better than being reactive. Now, just because you're proactive doesn't mean that you and that person might fall out and you might have to sue for custody, whatever. But if you've got something already backing you, then it just kind of makes more sense. I think what we don't realize is that when things are free, totally free, sometimes they are not good. The free stuff is not the good stuff sometimes. So if you're trying to skirt around spending money on one aspect, I think definitely protecting yourself legally is the way to go. Even when you have a child out of wedlock, some states mandate it, some don't. Like you should get a DNA test, you should establish paternity, you should do all those things immediately, like at the onset. Time shouldn't go on and no one should have to tell you to do that, because you're protecting yourself for things that can come in the future because we don't know what can happen.
That's right. I mean, he didn't know. He had to subpoena her to get a DNA test because also the woman can deny paternity, right? And not include you on a birth certificate. And a lot of men don't know if you sign a birth certificate, you have legal rights to the kid. That's your kid, regardless of the DNA test. Yeah,
I think
you can get it removed. You can get it removed, but if you sign it, she can take that and say you're the father.
Yeah, because I think in some states too, you have to do other things to establish paternity. So again, it's like, it's like multi-step. So I think in certain states, just because you sign it, that doesn't necessarily make it so. So it's like if you know you're going into a situation like that and you're not married, off top, you need like to do those 3 things, and just, if y'all are cool, let it be cool. But if you're not, in the event that it doesn't happen and y'all fall out, you got some protection. You don't have to like retroactively go back, because I mean, she can block you from doing a DNA test. Block, you know, and it could take years. So I just think we have to think a little bit more logically.
Do not submit to the DNA test, or they will deny paternity. And I don't know why, because in this particular case, he was the father. She really just didn't want him involved. She wanted to have a baby with, and she just needed his sperm, and she didn't really want the man around. And
she should have said that, because she could have found somebody,
right? It could
that would have dropped it off and kept it moving.
Yeah, but he had to really go through a lot just to get visitation. And it's on CNN, and it was like a full story, and you all can read about it. Robert Broadwin, and he really fought for his kid in that particular case. And that was like it was known as the turkey baster case. It was the first time that whole thing came to light, that people do that's a real thing, that women can artificially inseminate themselves at home. And it's something that has been practiced. And as long as you do it within a certain time frame, and women who know how to do this, study this, it's actually YouTube videos on how to do it. Like, you can just Google how to artificially inseminate, and women can really, or men, right? Whoever, right? You know, men can do that. There was a case where a woman was drugged by her husband and artificially inseminated while she was drugged, right? Her husband did it because he couldn't have children. But she didn't know that her husband couldn't have children. And so therefore, when he wanted to divorce her, he basically said, well, that's because he's divorcing her because the kid wasn't his, right? Because he knew that the kid wasn't. And she's like, the kid is yours, right? She had no idea. So when the DNA test came out, the kid was not his, and the woman had no idea why. She's thinking this whole time that the kid was her husband's kid. And so she found out, whatever the case, I don't know if she hired a private investigator. I don't remember what happened, but she hired a private investigator and found out why the kid wasn't hers, because he was working with someone and like artificially inseminating her while she was drugged, and she didn't really remember what was going on, and that's how she ended up getting pregnant.
That is so dusty.
That people do crazy stuff. You gotta really, like, you can't. It's hard because it's like, I don't want to put these stories out here and y'all not trusting y'all spouse and stuff, but it happens, right? Like, it's crazy stuff that happens. Go ahead, Freezy.
Okay, to JT's point, what do we say to that though? Okay, there's women that's going into situations from the start self-centeredly. You know, they're selfish. They're going into it selfishly, right? They know they have baby fever. They want a baby. You know, they might get more from the government, you know, more government assistance and all that kind of stuff. So they're going into this knowing this, right? So when they do conceive and have the baby, they're not even thinking about, they don't care about the father being in the house, because that, you know, that was not their intentions from the start. You know, they don't care. So this, just like JT is saying, it's guys out there that's fighting to be a part of the child's life, but the woman really never had intentions on you being a part.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what do we say?
If you're not playing to her beat, you know, that's the first thing I'm gonna put you on child support.
Let me let's talk about that, but I want to let Daryl kind of tell his story, because he has a very relevant, and I want you to respond, Daryl, and tell us what you wanted to say about this, because I know you got some stories about this situation that really affected you. And then we can respond to that, Freezy, about what about these women who do this intentionally and then don't want the men around. Go ahead, Daryl.
I think that one thing that we left out of this is people are humans. People are emotional, and people do things very topsy-turvy. You get what I'm saying? This happened to me recently with a copyright strike. So listen, at the end of the day, let me just make this something clear, because I don't even want to go down that lane, because I was. right? But at the end of the day, what I see all the time is this. I see women lay with a man, you in love at that moment. 5 minutes later, he's not doing what you want him to do. Not that he's not doing what he should be doing. Not that the kid is not taken care of. Right. So let me focus on my own situation so we don't speak in generals.
Right.
You guys can hear my daughter. She's in her playpen next to me. When I first had my first son and daughter, that was in 2010, 2012, right? And my daughter's playing. Bro, I was 19 years old, right? Freezy. I was trying to get through life, trying to work a regular job. I'm working 60 hours a week, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What her mother told me, her mother's an AKA, shout out to all the AKAs. What her mother told me was that you didn't deserve my daughter. And I said, well, why not? Your daughter's already sucking me and fucking me every night. So what everything you said that I haven't earned, already earned, right? And we did it in your house. You know what I'm saying? You allowed me to come into the place where you rest at, spend nights, and your daughter is a senior in high school. I just graduated. So what do you think was gonna happen? Right?
Ooh.
That's what and so you putting pressure on me to not just marry your daughter, because cool, let's go to the court, let's go get married. No, that's not it. Let's go get an apartment so we have a roof over your daughter's head and your grandchild. No, nope. Those don't matter. I need you to be able to provide a certain type of wedding that's basically a fucking spectacle, right? I need you to provide something that really I don't deserve. That's what I'm gonna get to next. You didn't deserve that. So that's something that I think people don't talk about often. And when I had my son and daughter, Junior, and my oldest daughter, her name is Aliyah. My sister,
You
she
were in
said,
high school at that time.
I had just graduated.
You had just graduated. Okay.
I had just graduated. I was 19 when my son was born, and I was 21 when my daughter was born. And when she was born, me and the mom was together, right? Well, sorry, let me not say that. When she was impregnated with her, we was together. The problem that I had, Tawana, was this. And I just had the same problem with Christiana, right? And somebody told me this. Well, you expected too much out of them. At 19, 20, 21, whatever, a woman that doesn't know how to provide for a man. A woman doesn't know how to cook. A woman doesn't know how to clean. It's funny you say that because at 19, 20, if a man has a child, he's expected to know how to provide. He's expected to know how to be a father. He's expected to know how to be disciplined, right? And that's dick discipline. So he don't be out here cheating when you get on his fucking nerves, or you don't keep your fucking weight up, right? He has to be emotionally and mentally disciplined, dealing with all the bullshit, having to go home to somebody that he's not happy with and that you're unwilling to change. So in Christiana's situation, can you lose weight? Can you, the bills is paid, the car paid for, can you just walk a fucking mile a day? No, you can't. Cool. There's other women out here for me. In those earlier days, right? Cool. I'm taking care of both of our children. I can get my sisters up and they'll tell you guys right now, they changed my kids more and changed my son diaper more than their fucking mother did. I be coming on from a 12-hour shift. Hey, Camila, what's going on? You got that food ready? Food, nigga. What you talking about? You got some dick for me? I'm like, bitch, I just did 12 hours. Come home. My sisters was fucking ninth graders at the time, cooking and cleaning like I'm fucking them. Right? So at the end of the day, what I realized was that a lot of women ask men for some stuff that they don't deserve. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of these parental situations happen because they go on the dates with us. They get dick down. They are the ones who usually say, can you please take the condom off? I want to feel that raw dick. I want to feel that raw dick. Right?
Okay.
So when you give it to them like that, after they get pregnant, now it's all our fault. I heard that the whole time. Her mama kept saying, well, why you get my daughter pregnant? Your daughter wanted the raw dick. I did nothing more but obliged. Right? You're not saying, well, why doesn't my grandchild has this? Why doesn't my grandchild? You're upset that your daughter put herself in a situation with a man that you know she's not gonna be able to get herself out of. Now she has to either do one or two things: work with me or work with the next man. And those are two different fucking paths. So I think the conversation that I heard tonight is about, for one, the girl with Drake, she trash, right? If you're trying to do some shit like that, you're trash. But that's what happened to me too. When Camila got pregnant, she looked me dead in my fucking eyes. Her mom said, I got money for a fucking abortion. Let's go do it. I said, yeah, let's go do it.
Right.
He said, no, I need somebody who's going to love me forever. That was her exact words. I need someone who's going to love me forever.
Talking about the baby.
No,
Yes.
talk about him.
No, talking about the baby.
No, she was talking about the baby, bro.
She's talking about the baby, not him.
Oh.
Because you can't guarantee a man gonna love you forever, but you think that your kid will always love
But
you.
you can't guarantee that, but you always have a connection with that person. So
yeah, but they don't.
I'm be wrong.
But women. Okay, so the women are thinking, okay, I can feel an emotional void with this baby. You know what I mean? And that's
Okay.
what they're thinking.
All right.
Not
I think
so
that was
much
the problem.
always thinking about you as the man. They hope that that will happen, but they know that they have the baby if you don't work out.
I think what she was thinking was like you guys spoke on it earlier was about women speaking selfishly while they're going into these relationships. Like, I'm saying.
So, Daryl, what do you say to this? Because just because the woman said you should do it doesn't mean you should. You should have taken action and you take responsibility for it as a man. What do you say to that?
Shay, I don't know how familiar you are with my story, but I had my son in 2010. It's 2022. Never been on child support. That's called responsibility. Again, my child is right next to me. Her mother is nowhere near me because CPS deemed it. It's called responsibility. So again, on this, that's usually what I hear too. Well, a woman said do this, but you did it, so it's your fault. Take responsibility. And I say this over and over and over and over again. Women act like, I guarantee that person was a woman. Women act like when a man stick his dick inside of your fucking body, you have no responsibilities about what's going on. Let me get my daughter a cracker. I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead. Give us the cracker because you about to get spicy, and I'm about to push back a little bit. I'm gonna push back on him a little bit.
I'm waiting
for back.
I mean, at least he took care of his responsibility. I mean,
of course. But what's the lesson? I always think about what's the lesson in it because you took responsibility and that's the way it's going. You know, me for instance, okay, like I've gotten divorced. You know, I take responsibility for my part in the divorce, right? But I'm not promoting divorcing, right? Because I know that was tough on my family, on my kids, even on my ex-husband, right? The things that he went through as a result of the divorce was hard for me to go, like to see him go through those things, right? So yes, I'm happy that I got a divorce because I really did need to be out of that marriage, but am I going to say like, yeah, that was the best thing and we should do it? No, I'm going to tell you guys like, please don't make the mistake that I made because I was so young when I made the decision to marry him and I wasn't quite ready for the responsibility. And he was as well, probably, right? Like he was probably forced into it. We were in our 20s. We were too damn young. 23, I was 23. He was, 25, 26. We was not ready for marriage. But let me let Daryl finish his story. Go ahead, Daryl.
Because you guys got to the point where you basically start talking about women weaponizing children against you. Okay. So many people, I saw that comment. I've elected to ignore it. As far as women weaponizing children, that happens all the fucking time. When I went to Central Michigan in 2013, to this day, I've never been on child support, never had any issues. So when I would call down there, hey, I want to see my kids. I'm in Mount Pleasant. Fucking Detroit is almost 3 hours away. I just want to see them on FaceTime. I bought the iPads you asked me for. The iPhones is all good. Everything you asked. So, but now I can't talk to them. Why? I was just fucking you and I can talk to my kids. One of y'all mentioned that either Freezy or JT.
Right. If you have that was JT. If you having a sexual relationship, they let you see the baby, but if you're not, then they put a lot of
that happens all the fucking time. All the fucking time. My daughter is playing. She just playing. Don't mind her. But at the end of the day, that happens all the time. When I was giving her
babies. That's I got enough of it. We can have a damn daycare. I bring my kids over.
Oh yeah. Like that was the problem I had, and it led me to have a lot of depression. And I heard one of the other brothers say this. I was like, "Fuck it all." For a while, that was me too,
Daryl, can
right?
I ask you this? How many children mothers do you have?
I have 4 children by 3 women. So Camila and I have Junior and Aaliyah. I have a son named Xavier with a woman named Janine, who I met at Central Michigan, and Christiana and I have Leia, who you guys hear in the background right now.
Wait, who do you have 2 women by? The first one?
No. Yeah, the first one. That's who I have 2 children by. Yep.
The first. Okay. So that's when you were 19 and she was in high school as well?
She was 17 when Junior was born, and I was 19. Yep.
Okay. And then you had another baby how many years later?
After those 2?
After your first baby, then how many did y'all have? When did y'all have a second baby?
2012. That's when Aaliyah was born. Xavier's born in 2015, so about 3 years later.
3 years later, y'all had. So y'all stayed together for
No. All right, so my first son was born in 2010.
Oh, okay.
And then Aaliyah, my daughter, was born in 2012.
Okay.
They had the same mom. Then I went to school, and a few years later, about 3 years into about my junior year, me and Janine, we were both students there, and we was fucking every single day, and she got pregnant. Yeah. But
Okay.
the one thing I will say is because even with the multiple children by multiple women,
Okay.
women usually say stuff like this: "You were very undisciplined. You probably was like blah 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 blah." What I never hear a woman say is, "Did a man fall in love multiple times? Did he feel secure in that situation? Did a woman make him feel like she wasn't gonna be like the last person, like she was, right?" And especially when you whining, dining, right? A lot of women, because let me say this too, because there's a few people that like I want to address, but I'm just not. Like the internet is just telling me just do better. But women talk about finance all the time.
Take off, Drow.
Women talk about
wait down,
No,
Freezy.
I'm chilling, because I listen. I don't want to go there tonight, Freezy. We can talk in private about that one. I spill all the beans for you, right? But at the end of the day, women talk about finance all fucking day. How much money they make, how much money they can make, blah, blah, fucking blah. What women don't talk about is women don't have to pay to keep their fucking kids. They don't. And that's just one end of
What
the
you mean
shit.
they don't have to pay to keep their kids? What do you mean?
How many women go to court to get custody of their kids? How many?
Oh, I see. They don't have to go through the legal system.
Hardly any of them, right? Mm-hmm. So what I experience oftentimes is women telling men, "You're broke, you're not doing this." But then I'm thinking, like I had a woman tell me recently, I'm not gonna say no names. If you know, you know. I got $10,000 saved up. I have more than you. I said, damn, that's crazy. I just spent $20,000 just to live in my fucking apartment. That's before my daughter crib, her food, my iMac, my camera, everything else. And you talking about, and to come to find out, you don't even stay by you don't even have your own fucking place. What I find out often is women shame men. This is why a lot of them, it's like I said in the beginning of my topic, they say stuff to me like, well, you had to be undisciplined, without thinking maybe I just fell in love 3 different times. Yeah. With Janine, with Camila, like I said before, I wanted to marry her. Her mother's an AKA. She was the one who really not talked me into becoming an alpha, but she was detrimental into that. And then when I got to school, when I met Janine, she lied to me. I want to be in a committed relationship. A year or 2 later, I love being poly. I love fucking girls. That's cool. I love fucking girls too. But that relationship wasn't gonna work out. That's why me and her cool. We have no issues. But the first one, Camila, you a liar.
So Daryl, to that point though, would you tell a man that he should have children with every woman he fall in love with? Because it sounds like in a lifetime. So me, I'm 38. As many men as I have fallen in love with, do you think that you should have children with every person that you fall in love with? Because you see how these cycles can happen. You fall in love, you have a child, then people change their mind. You fall in love, you have a child, they change their mind. You see what I mean?
My answer is always the same when it comes to children. For me, I hate to put it like this, but that's not really a factor. The factor is, can you take care of the kids? Because
Right.
you know, if you can take care of the kids, you don't really need the woman for almost anything, right? And that's something that I've realized.
Wait, so
I,
you don't think that the child needs their mother in their life?
I never said that. I said I don't need the woman.
Right.
I don't
Because
need the
you have
woman.
a different circumstance where you can't, the mother's not.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
hear that all the time too. When I say that, that's the automatic thing I hear is, so you don't think the child need the mother? And Freezy, JT, how many of us have male friends or female friends that never knew their fucking parent? I mean, they father, never grew up without their father, never heard the mother say she need or he needs the father. No, it's like, no, I got this on my own. I could do this all by my fucking self.
Not
Women
on
in the
this
black,
channel. I do not support anybody saying that the child don't need their father.
no, I get on this particular channel, but I'm talking about
Yeah.
like from the
In
community
the world.
standpoint.
In the world, a
Exactly.
lot of women promote that the man is not necessary, that the woman is the caretaker and the primary nurturer. But in your case, you have to be that to your children.
Yeah.
So
That,
you
that
are an
that's
example of the fact that that is not always the case, that sometimes the man is the better parent or option. And
that,
I understand
yes,
that mentality.
yes, yes.
But you
Very.
also, do you take responsibility for, let's say, the type of women that you choose to engage with, right? Do you think that that is somewhat in your control?
Again, like I don't want to bring up any particular names, but if I did bring up this young lady's name and it happened to know that, I know for a fact Freezy know this young lady and he might even know the story. But at the end of the day, this person, she hasn't talked to her baby father since she was 4 months pregnant. Would I go to her and say, are you responsible for getting pregnant by somebody that you knew at some point was not even going to fucking acknowledge your daughter or your son?
Yeah,
We wouldn't say that to them
I
because
would.
it's not possible. But let's say let's walk down that rabbit hole. How
Yeah.
would a woman know that when she get 4 months pregnant, this man was not going to stop? He was just going to disappear on her. How could she
You
know
don't
that?
know. You don't know
So
that.
that's what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
to me, those kind of questions are hideously loaded. How do you know these women are going to use your children against you, are going to weaponize the children against you, are going to you know
You don't know the first time, but remember when they say fool you once, shame on you, fool you twice?
mm-hmm.
Because I feel like if you've done the pattern multiple times, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, okay, I had a child with my husband, but there was some challenges there that I recognized beforehand, but I ignored. So the next time, I intentionally wanted to choose better, but that don't mean you always gonna choose better, right? You may actually do worse. But after the second time, maybe the next time, I'm definitely going to be different about my approach, right? So what I'm saying is, do you learn after every encounter? And is that a real thing to actually say, okay, this is the second time I've done this. Maybe I can't just have a baby with someone because I love them.
Can I?
This is just a question. I really
No,
want to
Okay.
know.
for me,
JT, I want JT to respond as well too, Daryl. But go ahead, Daryl.
no, yeah, for me, what I learned, like I said in the beginning of the conversation, is people are topsy turvy. You know, when, like I said, had I continued funneling dick inside these women and paying for whatever the fuck they asked me to pay for, that would not be the situation. I probably have all three of these motherfuckers here, right? And truth be told, there's not a single one of them that I don't have sexual access to. Not one. Not a single fucking one. Right? It's literally, especially when me being back home now, I can get off this shit right now and get on the fucking freeway and get pussy and have access to anything I want. And that's the thing
From
that
your
I don't.
children's mother, you
That is
still.
correct.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct. And the thing that, for me, it's hard for me to say, well, what did I learn? What I learned is people, they don't keep their fucking words. So what I did, especially after this whole situation with Leia, right? What I learned is it's hard for me to really trust people. People say one thing and they do the next, right? And that's like, I'm not built like that. When I say I'm going at somebody, I'm going at somebody. When I say I fuck with them, I fuck with them. That topsy-turvy shit, that I fuck with you one week, the next week you an enemy shit, I don't do that. I just don't do that. To me, that's hey,
Yes,
my
girl,
princess having
have fun. She in the back having a ball.
She
Daddy
got
got the
she got
playland back
Moana
there.
going and shit like that on her little
Can I say
tablet. Y'all don't even know.
something?
Yeah,
Can I say
JT, go
something?
ahead. I want to hear what you got to
All
say
right.
because I know you have some experience.
Based off experience, I would, if to do it all over again, I would do it different. But I'm so fortunate in my situation to have that many kids. I'm with one of the moms. We engaged, so she's not just a baby mama. But based on my situation, what I went through, I dealt with the child support. And you know what's crazy though? Like, you know, people try to make judgment, but they don't know. They don't really know your full story. All my kids, except for my oldest, doesn't stay with me. But she stays with her mom, and her mom is remarried, happily remarried, and that's by her mom choice. I prefer all my kids to stay with me because I can financially take care of them and stuff like that. But all my other kids stay with me, and I have two stepkids, so I'm raising 5 kids total. All right, and it's crazy. Like we travel, we almost every weekend because my sons play sports. Every weekend we going somewhere. We supposed to be in Jacksonville, but that changed. We was supposed to be August or last week. So I'm in a I'm in a better situation now. Back then I wasn't because I still was trying to get my stuff together and stuff like that. But I can take care of my kids. My oldest daughter, she's 11. I send her money every week and stuff like that. When she go through that, I teach her to be responsible, and then I still send her more money.
Yeah.
And I'm at that point where I can do those things, but if I had to go back and do it all again, I would not had to go through those hiccups and those hills and that negative part of my life. I would not do that.
What
But
would
of
you have
course,
done
I'm happy.
differently? What would you have done
It's
differently?
totally different. You know, with time and age, everything gets better. Hopefully, it gets better because when the parents both mature and they move on with their life, because that's what had to happen. They move on with their life, they get another man, or vice versa. You move on with your life and stuff like that. Now you're not really in their business and all that, etc. I think it's supposed to become a little more peaceful
Yeah.
and stuff.
But what
But
would you have done different? Because you say I would have
what
been
I would have done
what-
different, like if I go back to what Mr. Ruckus was saying or Mr. Jedi, I would have better discipline. I would have had better discipline, and you know, you know what, that really bothered me. I'm gonna tell you why it really bothered me because I didn't want to sit there and say maybe y'all don't have a lot of experience with women. But I would be wrong if I sat there and say that because everybody's situation different. Maybe he was taught how to be disciplined. I wasn't taught to be disciplined for women. I was taking care of myself when I was
So
13,
you think
14
like
years old.
access is different for certain men? Like if
Absolutely. I
you
mean, your
have
mind.
more access to women, it's harder to deny
No,
temptation.
yo,
No,
JT, I want to say, JT, you completely right because one of the things I hate hearing, I absolutely hate hearing this fucking fallacy, right? I heard one guy say, if you want to have sex with women, go get them STD tested right before you have sex. That's how we know
you're not
you
thinking about all that.
you're not dealing with no bad bitches. Let's just be honest about that. If you're dealing with a real sorry about the B word, if you're dealing with a real beautiful woman, she take her clothes off and you come on, you smashing. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like that's just what it is. If like I doubt, and listen, Kim, I'm gonna use you as an example. But if Michael B. Jordan walked in Kim fucking apartment, took his fucking shirt off, dick hanging, she's not
You
gonna be
gonna
like,
ask him for a report?
yeah, I need a report, I need all this other shit. It's not happening. She getting dick
What you gonna do,
down.
Kim?
She getting dick
I
down.
love Michael B. Jordan. Don't do that, y'all.
I know. Why you gonna put Michael
Exactly.
B.
So
Jordan? Right.
you
You
gonna
could
make
have
that
said
mistake
anybody else.
that you.
Okay, Michael B.
Yeah, it'd be different if it's phase on love. She gonna ignore the nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
It's different levels to this shit.
Yep.
You know what? I think I appreciate Daryl keeping this shit 100 and JT too. I mean, let's just be real. When we're young men, especially in our teens, we young and full of calm. I mean, you know, we ready to get it in. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
but
just
the problem is that how do
It was a
you
game, man. It was a game.
but do y'all want men who listening to y'all to
No.
make these same errors, or is this so do you want men to have to go through custody battles? So Daryl, I'm asking you, Do you want a man to have to go through custody battles, fight through the system, do all these things, or do you want them to think about it differently and learn from your story so that if that ever happens to them, that isn't something that they have to go through, right?
I
I do
mean,
think that it's power in telling people how to get through it if that's their situation.
in a
Don't get me
perfect
wrong.
world, yeah, I would love for men to do that, right? But then a guy will go out and do exactly what Jedi Mike was saying, doing, right? Be super disciplined, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then what happened? What can I teach a guy that's going to prevent the woman from switching the fuck up and weaponizing the kid against him any fucking way? What
Right.
can I teach him online that's going to prevent her from? Because a lot of these custody battles is not because a man didn't wear a condom. It's because two fucking adults couldn't come to a fucking conclusion. Thank you. They couldn't come to a conclusion. So the same police that, you know, they say they protect us from, they weaponize it against us when they want to. The same system
Yeah.
that they say they want to protect us from, they weaponize it. Like I just went through that. The mark is right here on my fucking neck what Christiana gave me. When the police came, she said I hit her. It took for me to show them the video. Them say, "Oh, ma'am, you blatantly fucking lied to us." You know what I'm saying? So my whole point is like, you know, condoms. That's not gonna prevent a woman from weaponizing a child against you. And it's nothing that Freezy, JT, or me or Kevin Samuels, nobody else can teach. Women need to teach women how to not weaponize the child. And do you really give a fuck about your family? Because what happened when these children grow up? My children grew up and they start to realize, damn, your parents don't, especially my oldest son and my oldest daughter. My oldest daughter talk about this shit all the time. Father, I wish we could see you more, but we can't because we know our mom hates you. The fact that she even knows this, Father, the last time I talked to my daughter, Aaliyah, she said that she snuck in the bathroom to call me. She said that I had to wait till my mom went to the bathroom to take a shower. Then I snuck in the bathroom and I called you because every time I call you on the phone that you fucking pay for, she get an attitude. Right? She couldn't beat me in court, couldn't do none of those different things. But what you gonna a child can't just pick up the phone whenever they want to. These people are still basically being fucking controlled by their parent.
Do you have custody of that daughter or no? She's with her mom.
I have full custody of Leia, and I have physical joint custody of my other children. But even with physical joint custody, the father can't control what happens in the other household.
No,
you can't control none of that different stuff. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
but
I can't.
That's an issue with co-parenting. Co-parenting creates those situations. But see, with me, I don't. People say co-parenting is like this copacetic situation where it's really an alternative, but I think co-parenting is like ghetto. Like it's really ghetto. It's hard to really, it's good. It's a good alternative to not being with the person. And this is the only option. We have to figure out how to raise our children. But is it the ultimate decision for me? Like, no, like I would not want to be co-parenting if I could avoid it. That would be so for me. When I give people advice, I'm like, co-parenting is just what I have to do. It's not like I wouldn't say
what you got to put up with.
It's like it's what I have to do in order for my kids to have the most holistic approach to parenting.
The best chance, to have.
So I have a question. So then, since we know that there are downsides to co-parenting, and since we know that like once a life gets here, that people can change their mind, they can switch sides, they can make an agreement and then change it and whatever. Do we have any solutions before that? Like before we get to that point, do we have solutions? And I think where we go wrong is everybody's like, oh, we'll just have protected sex, and then that's going to be fine. And it's just like it takes more than that, and it goes beyond that because nothing is 100%. So the solution that I would offer is conversation and being transparent, because sometimes two people can be together and like they're not trying to, but if it happens, you're like, are you cool? I'm cool. Are you financially stable? I'm financially stable. Are you not crazy? I'm not crazy. Okay, we're not trying, but if it happens, we're going to make the best of it. And there's sometimes when it just should not happen freaking at all. Like it's just, it's not going to.
And that happens a lot of times.
It does. But my thing is like, but what can you do? And I think that like, again, using multiple forms of birth control as a woman, knowing your body, and knowing that there are certain days of the month that you cannot conceive. So if you got to make a D appointment, make it on those days. I think it's more practical ways of doing things before we get to that point, because once a life gets here, that's when it gets contentious, that's when it gets crazy. But like, how can we back it up? And it's just not enough to just protect yourself. That's what people say.
No.
But I think it takes a lot more than that. And that's what I really want to get out of conversations like this. Like, what are the solutions? What
next
can
step?
we
Go
like
ahead,
go out
Crazy.
and apply right now?
You know
Go
what?
ahead, Crazy.
That's awesome, Kim. I think what we're missing here is the epidemic of a repeating cycle. Right? So how you stop the repeating cycle once, I made a comment that, me, I'm no different from Daryl or JT. When I was young, I was full of cum. I don't want, just be derogatory, but you know what I mean. So, but when I got older, I started to understand more important things like core values. When I see if I meet a woman, what's her core values? Yeah, we can talk about the stars and the moon and the moon all day. We can laugh and joke about TV and just make jokes all day. But what's her core values? What does she really represent spiritually, intellectually, all that kind of stuff? It matters. So when I do mature and get older, now that I know better, it's up to me to pass this down to the young bucks. You feel what I'm saying? It used to be a time where it was shameful for young females to be baby mamas. They couldn't even sit up front in the church. You used to have to sit in the back. You know what I'm saying? So it's not even a shameful thing anymore. It's like
Was
it's
that a
kind of
thing?
cheeky.
Was that
Huh?
a thing? That was a
Yeah,
thing?
it's actually a thing in other cultures right now. Some
Wow.
cultures, you can't if you're a baby mama, that's shameful. If you're not
But like,
married or
but
you're not a
But can we get it to the point where we get before the baby mama? Because I feel like I'm picking up what you're putting down, Freezy, and I
yeah.
think you're on the whole thing of bringing shame back to diminish behavior. But here's the thing: let's talk about it. Back then, when the baby mamas couldn't sit on the front pew or whatever, that's still when people were still having kids, but they were sending them to relatives in other places, and you mysteriously have this young cousin that's really your kid. So I don't think that really worked either. Like, we
Yeah.
need to get before. We need
Now
to figure out
I
what
wasn't
happens before that.
I wasn't really talking about shaming. I was just saying it used to be a shame to be a baby mother. The shame more so fell on the women, on the little girls than it did the men. But what I felt like a solution was, once we get older and wiser, we got to pass this knowledge down to like what we're doing now. We need more conversations like this. You know what I'm saying? Okay, if what Daryl was saying, what he was doing, he was just being realistic about who
Right.
he was at that
Right.
age.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? JT was being realistic. A lot of guys, the reason why this conversation is needed is because young guys can look at this video, listen to Daryl's story and say, man, I felt the same way. I feel the same way. But now guess what? Daryl, he has them by the ropes and he can reel them in. You understand what I'm saying? You got to be real them in the beginning. But that's what I feel like is missing, Kim. I feel like once people actually gain this knowledge, get more mature, start making better decisions, we have to pass this down. Take these younger people aside and pass it down and let them know, hey, you don't want to make that mistake. You don't want to make the same mistakes that I made. We need more mothers and fathers saying this to their kids.
Whatever you would say to your children,
But
right?
like, how?
However you would.
But what are we telling them? I mean, I think that our parents did that. Our parents said, "Don't make the same mistakes I made,"
And
but
we
they
did
didn't tell
anyway.
us specifically what to do. You see what I'm saying? So I think, yeah, okay, use me as a cautionary tale, but let me tell you how. Let me give
Well,
you
Right.
some specific suggestions on what
Well,
to
I'm
do
gonna just tell
versus
you the
not
truth,
doing what I
Kim.
did.
I don't have any kids, right? I'm gonna tell you why I don't have any kids. That shit scared the hell out of me. When I used to see my homeboys going at it with their baby mamas, they get locked up just because they got child support warrants and stuff. Like, I didn't want to go
So
through that.
Breezy, how did you avoid having children? Because you're in your 40s, right? How did you
Yes.
avoid having children?
Man, I protected myself.
Okay.
But I don't want to promote that. That's a 100% way of not having kids. I got lucky.
Yeah, you got
I
lucky.
was promiscuous just like Daryl, just like JT. I just got lucky.
You just
I'm
got
not
lucky.
setting myself aside from those
So,
guys.
even with this whole Drake story, it's like it's a culture of, oh, I'm gonna create children for casualties, right? Like people feel like this is a way to secure my future. And they don't care about that they're creating children in this toxic environment or environment that's not really cohesive. They just care about in the moment, I'm creating children.
Yeah.
And I am going to be able to secure my future because this man has money tied to him, right? Or even if they see the potential of you being able to secure the bag later, Daryl, maybe they saw, okay, at some point, Daryl's gonna be rich, or maybe they felt that. And then it's a way to kind of get you to secure the bag. So we are in a culture of, okay, we don't necessarily have to be committed to make children. Do you guys think that if we encouraged, or if marriage, because someone made a comment that other races globally, they make decisions, right? Like they are more rational in long-term planning, right? And they say that a black man, I don't know if that's true. I'm just
That's
missing
that's
comment.
ridiculous. I'm gonna address that afterwards.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
so fucking
Good, good.
ridiculous.
So do you think that if we ingrained in our culture, hey, maybe we should be married, or we should have some sort of, I don't know, structure as far as like when we should have children. Like, not that it's not gonna happen outside of that, right? People still gonna break the rules. It's always gonna be exceptions. But if it was like ingrained in culture that we have children in this setting and this is what it is, do you think that could potentially change the way we see having children? Because right now, you can have children, it's a man who got 8 children, you can be number 9, and women really don't see a problem with that.
I think it could
go ahead, my
help.
bad.
No, I think it could help some of like the initial part, but like we have to really think long and hard about a solution that happens afterwards as far as women weaponizing children. Because even if you have children within a marriage, you can still weaponize the children against the father. Now that what this person is saying,
Yes.
I really encourage you guys to like do research, or just people in general to do research on like women and how our bodies work. And it's funny, like there are so many babies being born, but there are like not that many days out of the month that a woman can actually conceive. It's
That's right.
crazy.
It's
But I
not.
will say too, on a scientific level, women tend to have a surge of wanting to have sex when they are fertile. So that could play a part in it. But I mean, back to my other point, like I think, ingraining marriage into the culture would be beneficial, because I do think the family's a cornerstone. But ultimately, women can still file for divorce and still use children against men. So
Yeah.
it kind of remedies one part of the problem, but like not the
family
entire
planning is a thing. Like it's a
It
thing.
is. You can absolutely do it.
I will say
Yeah.
this, that all 3 times I was pretty much active on my fertile days and knew that I was going to get pregnant. So
Exactly.
I intentionally planned my pregnancies. I didn't, well, not me, not just I'm sorry. We did, because I don't want to be out here like y'all, I trapped a man too. That's not what I did. I didn't trap them. Okay, guys, I'll let them.
Yeah, but that's
beautiful though, Tawana, and I think you should
I
normalize that, because everybody thinks that when you have kids, you just oops and have them.
Right.
And you know what?
That's not always everybody's situation.
And Tawana, that's the right. Tawana,
I tracked my cycle.
That's the right way to do it. That's the right way to do it.
Everything. So what I'm saying is that is an alternative. You can plan your pregnancies, right?
Right, but you gotta.
You can say that. You can do that, because I mean, it happens. I was 26. My first.
Yeah, but what about on New Year's night when both of y'all get drunk and it just happened?
Well, it's fine. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it's
I think she was married at the time too. So like,
I was married. But it's also an alternative that you can plan, even if you're not married. You can plan
absolutely.
You can ask her when she's ovulating, or you can even notate when she's on her period, and you can determine when her ovulation date is,
You sure
because
can. It's
men
science. It's like
know
clockwork.
men know your cycle. Like, oh, you on your period? Okay, cool. You can put her period in a calendar yourself and determine when her ovulation date is, and determine when she's more fertile, and know that just for your own context.
Ooh, and
I
I
was,
know
if I can
men
Tawana, I
don't
was
like
just
to
about
do
to say,
that, but
I
you
was
can
just
do
about to
it.
say that, and basically when sometimes these women at a young age, they're not in tune with their body. Like how when you got when you got older, you in tune with your body. You know when you're ovulating and you planning like that, which is a good way and the right way to do it. So if you keep asking, what do we have to give good advice? Wait till y'all both financially stable. Wait till you meet the right person. You done with you done with your single life. She done with her single life. Y'all get married and stuff like that. That's supposed to be the perfect way, but of course that doesn't happen. But make sure y'all both financially stable, and y'all, this is a woman you want to be with. This is a man you want to be with, and stuff like that. Even then, so even if y'all do
Sometimes you want
have
to
a
be
hook.
with them, and then that don't work out. I mean, it
But
work
you
out
can't
for me.
look. You can't think like
Right.
that. If
That's
this
true.
gonna be your husband and this gonna be your wife at the time, you're not thinking, well, damn, we might get married, but this might not work out $2. You thinking about this is the person you want to marry at the time. So I feel like, of course, I think, and I may be wrong because I don't do the statistics and all that. I think a married couple has a better chance when they having kids than you being out there being young,
I
reckless,
agree.
not even agreeing with your body, don't even know when women don't even know when they're ovulating and stuff like that. And that happens a lot too, and stuff like that. So you have a better chance, and that child has a better chance with a married couple.
I think so. I
Do
think
we all
You mind if
agree?
I
Do we
hold on?
all agree that marriage is probably the best way to plan a family, or do we disagree with that? Do some people disagree with that?
No, for me,
Go ahead, Gerald.
the
Yes.
surface point of your question, I disagree with that, and the reason why, is because how I wanted to answer the question to begin with. What
Go
do we
ahead.
need to do? When I lived in Dearborn Heights, I saw motherfuckers get married young, old, and it didn't matter, right? And it's because my daughter having fun like a motherfucker. The Islamic culture, they have certain type of different things that they just do, and what I find out is like when these people get married, it's about duty more than anything else. Duty and honor to both families. Today, a woman will break up with the man just because he disagreed with her that fucking day, and then the family go down the fucking drain. So to me, and we see this, we see other women promoting it. Girl, leave that motherfucker, A, B, C, and D, and then this motherfucker's a single mom, and then they get mad at motherfuckers like me for moving on. I'm always get bad bitches because I'm handsome, right? So the thing about it is this: we promote the most toxic shit to children and young people every fucking day. And I always ask this to black women: how many times have you turned on, because this is a rhetorical question, none of us have turned on a fucking Indian channel, but if you were to turn on Indian music, are you going to find Megan Thee Stallion? Are you going to find the Cardi B's? And I fuck with them. This is not a shot towards them, but what they're talking about continuously, Cardi B said, I don't cook, I don't clean, but I got the fucking ring. And then her fucking husband showed 20 videos of her cooking and cleaning and mopping the fucking floor like a typical fucking Mexican woman, right? So I'm just saying, it's like, we hear this all the time. Well, what can we do to make the community better? How about we raise better people? How about we have a better community that hold all of us accountable? Well, what Freezy was saying wasn't we're shaming people. No, it's honor. You're a
right.
dishonor to our fucking community, because what you're doing is you're basically fucking us over, right? And then what you're going to go out here and say is, as a baby mama who did all this other bullshit, what can we do to make the community better? What could you have fucking done, right? Because in my situation, I would have been married had you just signed the fucking papers, but it was about making more money. And I always tell women this: once I get more money, if you was there for me at a certain level.
What papers are you referring to? That they
I'm
didn't
talking
want
about
to
wedding papers, right? So you can go to
Oh,
the court and get a
okay.
wedding
I thought you was
certificate.
trying to say the prenup like Mr. Rucker. I
No,
thought you was offering,
because that came up on
Mr.
King page a
Rucker.
few days ago. Well, it's no reason for people to get married. Wedding certificates is women not hearing that shit. Women want to get the dress, the ring. They want their friends to be impressed. You know what I'm saying? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you dating Kim, you got to worry about the whole Soros on your ass. right?
And
You can't be on no bullshit. You're not taking Kim to no fucking
and that tell you the people get
No.
married for the wrong reasons. They getting
That's what I'm
married
telling you about.
for social media, and see, and that's what I mean about them fake marriages. But of course, you might run through those. Some people get married a few times, and so I haven't been married yet. But I had my mess ups in my life with having kids, not being married. But do I feel that a married couple has a stronger chance on birthing a child and a child having a better chance? Absolutely. But you have to determine, is this the right person for you? But you got to go through all those processes and those steps. Now, one thing I did agree with your boy when he left
Who, Jedi?
Jedi is discipline, though, and a lot of people don't have that.
You gonna mess with Jedi till
Well, I'm gonna
get
mess
off
with him
this
because
shadow, ain't you?
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna mess with him. You know why? Because, like I say, in the real world, that discipline, all that sounds good, but a lot of people don't have that discipline that
Well,
he says.
I did
It's
post
easy to
that
be
to him.
disciplined when no women are after you. And that's not a shot towards
And
him,
look,
right?
and
It's
look,
not a shot
No,
towards him.
but
I did not
Daryl,
want to say.
I posed that to him. I said,
I did not want to say
is
that.
that realistic? Right? Is
Right.
discipline
I did not want to
realistic?
say that because in the world we live in, they got a lot of attractive women. They got women that wear certain stuff, and I'm just sorry. It's hard. You could see a woman and find her attractive, and you could eye her in your mind and stuff like that, and keep it moving. So that's just the world we live in. So
Yeah, but let me say this, JT. There's plenty of men who have access to women who choose not to have children with multiple women.
yeah, of course that's the
Okay.
ones you don't
But
want to.
I want to put that out there because there's plenty of men who's done it. My
There's
husband, to be
there's
exact.
plenty of men. I'm pretty sure there's
They
plenty
have
of men
not had
like
who do
Daryl
not have
probably.
children with multiple women, right? Who
They
are
have
at a certain
men.
age where they had access to lots of women, but chose
But
not to have
the
children.
thing,
Yeah,
with
but you
multiple
pick the women you like.
but see, hold on, JT. The problem, even with that conversation, I always hear about men having multiple children, is never that the children are not taken care of. It's the fact that we want to talk about them just having multiple children.
Right.
And
And
the
that's
thing
what
is like, it's like what are, like it's like JT was said. What are we more concerned about? Are we more concerned about the woman? Because if I would not have multiple children
But
by multiple women,
Daryl, you take care of your kids, but not all men do.
I get that, Tawana, but my point is a lot of men wouldn't have these children with multiple women if the woman did enough to keep the fucking man in the first place, right? And that's something that they just don't talk
you think
about.
that's real though? Seriously?
Yeah,
let's say
let's
that
talk
men
about
don't
that.
just leave relationships on their own as well. I mean,
Yeah,
are you really saying that?
I would love to delve into this.
Yes, I believe if Freezy and JT.
Well, let him finish and then you go next.
I believe if Freezy and JT and they can both correct me if I'm wrong. If you had a woman that's beautiful, she's working out as much as you like, she's cooking as much as you like, she's peaceful, she's not calling those fucking drama, right? She's fucking you good. She's not a monetary fucking like she's not something that's going to cost you money. She's actually an asset to you. Are you leaving this person?
We dying together.
Thank you.
It depends on the man, though, and it depends on his mindset.
Can I answer that? Can I answer that?
Go ahead, JT.
Go ahead.
I mean, wait. Let me let Kim respond.
I'm sorry.
Wait.
I left.
JT, wait, because I did say Kim was next, and then you can respond.
Okay.
So keep that, please. Pencil it so you don't forget your point. Go ahead, Kim.
I mean, Daryl, I understand what you're saying, and I think ideally, like, the majority of situations work like that. When the man is satisfied, he's there, he's whatever. But I mean, there are outliers, and that is like not everybody's situation. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you cook, how much you.
I said peace too. You can be doing all those things, but are you bringing?
I'm going to put that in there. It doesn't matter if you are super peaceful. If someone doesn't want to get kept, they will not stay. They won't get kept. So it goes both ways. You have to do certain things that this person is desiring, but then they also have to want to be there. I mean, I don't think it's automatic. I don't think a person is like, okay, well, I don't want to be here, but she's doing everything, so I'm going to stay. Like, no, if they don't want to be there, they're not going to be there. So I think by and large, what you're saying makes sense, but like, y'all, it really is not the way. It's not cut and dry. It's
right.
Not.
Like, y'all can't say that's the rule because there's so many men who leave women.
We're not all saying that though, Tawana, and I kind of disagree with Daryl on that because I've been in that situation twice. You don't see it's hard to get a perfect woman, but when you got a good woman, And like what Kim just said, to piggyback off what I said, what she said, I wasn't ready for that. And I still was out there dipping and dabbing, like, for my insecurity issues. Like, cause I ain't gonna lie, I used to put in my mind, she eventually gonna play me anyway. So I'm just gonna keep doing what I gotta do. But this shit is temporary. So I used to put that weird shit in my mind. And then you have a good woman here and stuff like that. Now you mess that up because eventually she get tired of your shit and stuff like that. She move on and stuff.
Right.
So I've been in that situation where Dara was talking about, do I regret it? Absolutely, I regret it and stuff like that. Because now you can't take that situation back. But yes, I mean, you meet different women, you go through different women, and we was talking about this on another show, Tawana, about, I think he asked us, do we go back and think about the women that we had dealt with? And you had some good special women in your life, but it's not always just the woman fault. It be the man fault and it be the woman fault. It just depends on the
That's
situation.
what I'm saying. Daryl trying to present it like,
No,
if
no,
you
I
a
think,
good woman,
No,
your man gonna stay there.
but
Like,
but
you
no,
know damn
but
well that ain't true.
in that
Daryl.
situation, he wasn't happy, right? If JT was happy, that's what I'm saying. In whatever situation Kim was talking about too, if the person was happy, genuinely happy,
It's about the
blissfully,
man. The man. If
yes,
the man is
yes.
happy in the
If he was
relationship,
happy in that
he
situation,
ain't
he's
going
not
nowhere.
no,
leaving.
no. What it was though, I think I wasn't happy with myself.
That's
So
what I'm
how could I
saying,
even be
brother.
happy in a relationship?
And that's
But
what I
Daryl,
meant. He
that's
wasn't
more
happy
than
within
likely.
himself.
That's more
Exactly.
than likely what the issue is. There is not like these plethora of happy men out here marrying women. Like, you saying it like this is the norm. Like, women are struggling to find men who are wanting to commit to them, let alone men who want to stay in your life long term. Daryl, you
But
saying it, you are a gem. If that's how you truly feel, like, I want to be with this woman and I want to stay with her for the rest, that is not that's not a resounding thing. So you saying it as if it's like normalized, but it really isn't.
But
Men, go ahead, Freezy.
okay,
Go ahead.
Tawana, let's look at it statistically, right? To Daryl's point, when we have households with women that are more traditional, not modern women, but women that are practicing more of a traditional role, aren't these societies are having more of two-parent households, right?
Yeah.
Statistically.
Yeah.
So I'm leaning towards what Daryl is saying. I mean, yeah, Kim is right. There are outliers, but statistically, if if this certain society had less modern women and more traditional women that were more submissive and cooperative, they understand this man's goals. She's backing them, like the Bible says. A wise woman buildeth her house, but a foolish woman tears it down. She has the power to do this.
Okay, let me say this. I went to U of I in Champaign. Stop it, girl, because y'all clapping. Let me bust y'all down real quick. I went to U of I in Champaign. Right now, if I was to recall, I know 27 couples who are married with children and have been married for over 10 years. Now, me and my husband went to the same college. We met 10 years ago, 20 years ago, however many. Look, I'm aging myself. I don't want y'all to know how long I've been out of college. But we met then, dated maybe a couple months, and just never was together, right? We reconnected years later. But again, we both went to school, got married. Now we have kids. So if I know, and this is black couples that are still married to this day, that I can like go to and reference and be like, oh, they're married. I don't know what it is about U of I, but the men out there, they marry they women. I don't know what it is. So if y'all want to go to U of I Champagne, fighting the line high, okay? We have some success with the men coming back and marrying us for some reason.
So we got to go to your area to get that, right?
You might need to, right? I need to talk to these couples because something has. I mean, there is 27, and I counted it before I came on the show because I was like, I really want to reference these people that I know, that I can recall. Like, I'm thinking of their names right now and thinking of their relationships, and it's a network of us that are married and like happily married. So I don't want to promote this idea that people don't want to get married and people don't have success because, like, unlike me, like, I'm one of the only couples where we're blended, right? Like, most of the couples, their children are with their partner.
Together, yeah.
That's it. They don't have a blended family like me. I'm an outlier because, like, and I'm probably the odd person in the group, right? Where I got a kids with other men, and
Right.
I'm in this group with the people who, whatever. So I have to try to connect and, like, whatever. And I don't even connect with some women who weren't married before and have kids, right? Because some women are like, well, I wasn't married, so I don't connect with you. But what I'm saying is that in that community that I see, the children are healthy, the families are solid. They've been together for years.
Right.
There's very little issues of violence and fighting and this, that, and the third. I mean, obviously that happens, right? And but these couples are still sticking it out. They're still together. And their children are thriving, or in all these different places. So I see it being cohesive, and I see the community of having a marriage, having a family, bringing your children in that stable environment working. So I know that we've been in situations where we've seen the opposite time and time again, and we know families who just they do it and they're in this co-parenting situation and they make it work and they raise their children. But what if we witnessed more people who did it the other way?
I think I was about to sit there and say that, people adapt to situations, and I'm not trying to make excuse for women or men, but if we had more families like that, maybe coming from where we came from, you would probably produce that in the next generation. But if you get the single parent homes, the struggling and all that, and you keep doing that generation, you don't expect the generation to get better and better. It's gonna get worse and worse, and then you're gonna have the independent women that we running into now feeling like they don't need a man because just the generation that's the generation they coming from.
Right.
After that, we don't have that that married home, because I know I didn't come from that.
Right.
I didn't come from that. Honestly, I think my mama and my dad was divorced like when I was 3 or 2 years old,
Right.
and stuff like that. So
I've witnessed 50-year marriages, and
and that plays a part though.
I know marriages that's still going, and they're in their
Right.
50 years. I'm like, how?
And you know what
I
though?
didn't even think that was possible to be married for 50 years, but you with the same person.
Tawana, they go through their bumps and bruises in the marriage, but they, and mess around. They probably go through that, but it's still what is marriage to them? I think they feel like marriage is worth more than just saying calling it quits, because you got kids and that's another thing. A lot of families, they might not even really be happy, or they might be sleeping in separate rooms when they're older, but they stay together because of the kids. And a lot of people do that sometimes too.
Well, not really because of the kids, because the kids be grown out the house by then.
I mean, what different situations, but that's what I'm saying though. Like,
kids damn near 50 by then. Who knows how old your kids are by then?
Yeah, but then at that time you old now. You won't go back out there. You've been in the market.
Some people leave, and so it's good when you see a couple that survives through that. Because I know multiple couples that's been together for over 40 years. Multiple. I know women who have stayed with their husbands until the husbands died, and now they're widowed, but still have it. So like it matters your environment and who you surround yourself by, because if you see examples of baby mamas and men who have baby mamas, then that's what you think is normal. But then if you see the examples of men who actually marry their wives, have children, and maintain households, then you normalize that. And for me, I normalized that because that was my example, right? My mother was married for 17 years. My dad was married. And so what happened is I saw people in situations where they felt like this was the way, right? Like we gonna get married, and we're going to have our children, and we're going to raise our children in the same household. And it wasn't my mom and my dad. They didn't stay married, but I still saw them in marriages that were successful. You
That's a
understand?
good way to break it down because not that if I look back at it, I never met none of my grandfathers, my grandparents. My
Thank
when I
you, Kim. Thank you, Kim. I'm sorry for coming because I'm about to wrap it up as well because we've been on for 3 hours. I just really wanted to talk about this, but I wanted to bring it back. Thank you, Kim, so much for being on. We really appreciate your feedback. But go ahead, JT. I want us to give some last and final thoughts because it's time to wrap this thing up.
I just feel like you said, I agree with you.
Literally,
If
wrap it
you,
up.
what's the?
No, I'm just
Oh,
go
you
ahead.
talking to me?
No, I said literally wrap it up. No,
Okay.
I was joking.
She talking about what we talking about in the
Oh no,
podcast.
no, oh no,
Yeah.
you wasn't joking. You just trying to tell me hurry up and speed it up. Don't be too comfortable.
No,
Nah, but look,
No,
all I
she
was
said
just
no,
trying.
wrap
you're
it
not
up
getting
like you
you're
was a
not getting what
condom.
I'm saying.
It was
I was
like a
saying
Okay.
pun. It was like a pun.
it's like a
Yeah.
pun, like
Yeah.
trapping men, wrapping it up, using the
Okay.
condom.
Oh,
I
okay.
was
Look,
playing. I was
that
playing
one,
on the
that
word.
one went
Yeah,
over me. Nah, but
I was playing on it. Yeah.
all I was saying is like if you come from a situation like that and like it was crazy. I never met none of my grandparents, and then my uncle, who's my aunties and all was single, was not married, and stuff like that. And it, like you say, if you come from that side and that's what you see, guess what? 9 times out of 10, if you don't correct it and you call it out, be like, hey, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do it something. I'm gonna try something different. You'll go through life making those mistakes until you catch yourself,
You change it
until you
exactly
change it, till
until
you
you
change it.
change it.
I mean, that's all.
Absolutely. And even my mother has been married multiple times, and so maybe I'm repeating a cycle too, right? Because I'm like, oh, unconsciously, like I'm aware of that because I'd be like, man, okay, I saw my mother get married, so maybe I'm in my mind thinking, okay, it's always a possibility for me. When I had to think about that and be like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to stay married and be married and not have
Right.
to do this again. But to consciously repeat, unconsciously you repeating a cycle maybe that you're not even aware of. So if you
Yep.
see a bunch of baby fathers, right?
Oh,
Well,
you see your uncles with different women every
yeah,
time they
you
coming
see that.
around.
Then are you
You're
consciously
doing the same. You're going to do the same thing unconsciously,
right?
not knowing.
Right. What do
I,
you
I
think,
got
Breezy? Go ahead.
I want to implement a little bit of information that I read upon. According to Psychology Today and some other articles I read, it says that women are more cautious entering into romantic relationships and quicker to exit them as well. So what we have is women are more self-conscious when they're in the relationship. They're paying attention to more of the nuances that's going on, more of the, women are more likely to recognize problems that's going on in the relationship than men. So, because men are more like docile and, we're just,
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Y'all
sure
are
Right.
visual. Y'all are visual.
yeah,
Whatever you're showing me is what I believe. Right.
right. I'm
Women,
pretty
we
sure,
think beyond the visual.
right. I'm pretty sure you've had incidences, and you can tell me if you haven't, with, your husband where you bring up a problem and he's clueless. He's like, "What are you talking about? I don't even know what
Oh, all
happened."
the time. All the time.
Yeah,
It's probably never an argument where he's like, you really mad about that? He'd be like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like that's not even a thing for me.
exactly. So I feel like this is
What?
important information that men and women should know going into relationships. Women are quicker to leave relationships. It's a misconception that men are leaving relationships all the time. I don't think that's true. I think that women are more unsatisfied in relationships than men are, because women are expecting more. They're paying more attention to, like I said, more nuances in the relationship, more emotions that's going on, little
Okay,
things that men
we need to have
are
another
noticing.
conversation because maybe women have unrealistic expectations from men.
Women, they say women go off of actions, men go off of I don't want to say thoughts of what you say, like in a relationship. Women, like, because if I could sit here and tell you I'm gonna buy you this and all this in the beginning, and you're not getting none of that, That's the actions. You going off of my action. You want me to show you. You want me to be consistent. You want me to commit. If I said I'm gonna do this, you expect me to do that. But men go
So
off of
doctrine said, yo, he's 100% correct. Women are more neurotic and have more at stake since they get pregnant. So what he's saying about women is absolutely true. One is because of the investment and the neuroticism.
the actions.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
And can I speak on Shay? I forgot his last name. He's like
Shay's been dropping some great points, and I want to acknowledge that because I do agree with you in a lot of the points. And men are paying attention to structure and security, and I think that's important. Men really need to learn that that is important for your children and their future, right? Because we understand that men are in current situations where the situations are not structured and secure, and you have to figure out how to navigate through that. But we want to prevent those men who are not in those situations on how to avoid those situations. And Freezy, his whole life have avoided it, right? So I think it's possible. You can
by the
see
grace of God.
outlier, you know, whether you were lucky or not, you have avoided that situation.
Well, I believed in protection. You know, I wasn't out
believe in
here.
protection.
Yeah, I
And
believe in it.
protection have worked for you, and that's great. And I think
Most
that
definitely.
and look, if men can mirror you and use protection, maybe they will have the same success rate, but a lot of men don't. And a lot of men use different methods that don't work. And now you're in situations that you don't want to be in. So, how to avoid being trapped by a woman? One, protect yourself at all costs.
Yes.
If that means you have condoms, if that means you get some kind of operation to prevent, especially if you have children, if you have to protect yourself in that way so that you don't have more because you really know that you don't want more, do what you have to do to protect yourself. Also, practice restraint. As Jedi said, I know that, you know, JT wasn't the biggest fan of him, but Jedi really did shine a light on men having physical control over their restraint and how, and even if you have access to 10,000 women, you don't have to sleep with 10,000. You don't have to sleep with 1,000. You can choose who you are intimate with, and that is a choice that men have, and it's a powerful choice.
That's
so
awesome.
A woman cannot trap you if you have the power and control over your life.
Absolutely.
Because that is why Drake took control and put the hot sauce in the spice. Right? He said, I ain't about to have no children with no women I don't want to have no children
I think Drake did that on purpose, man. I think he did that on purpose.
He did that to catch the gold diggers, the ones that's trying to trap him.
And you know what?
And they got a little taste of it. So, but that's
what you have to be careful is if you do something that harms a person because you don't know the effects that it can have on a person. So I would say that restraint is the number one thing. But let's say, secondly, you have to make sure that you protect yourself at all costs. So if that means that you keep the condom in your pocket, you bring your own Ziploc bag and take it with you,
I'm taking the condom. I'm taking the condom with me. I'm flushing it.
Flush it down the toilet and make sure it goes down the toilet because sometimes it doesn't go down. It's things that men can do to take power. I know that they feel powerless in certain situations, but I don't want men to feel like they are trapped. I do want men to feel like they have some level of control over the situations because I do think they feel powerless a lot of the times, you know. And so that's the problem, you know, that I have. But thank you guys so much for in the comments. You guys have been amazing. I have been reading them. Trust me, I haven't highlighted them all, but Shay, Queen Nita, a lot of you, Doctrine, you guys have been spitting facts. Tristan, you so crazy. But I do agree with a lot of the things that you guys have been saying.
One last thing, Tawana, because I know you want to wrap it up. Shay, what I was going about Shay, he made a comment. Actually, you brought it up in the podcast. He said something about other races or other cultures are more responsible than Black people.
That was Shay.
Okay, I just wanted to point out that I disagree, and I think Daryl disagreed with it too. He said he was going to address it later, but
This one, Shay.
okay.
Oh, well, wait, hold on. It was before that. Okay, here. I forgot. It was up a little further. I forgot what it said. It was like that
Yeah, because I
people
don't
are
want to
more
misquote.
responsible in other races.
Yeah,
I'm gonna find it, but go ahead. Oh, here you go. Other races and men in America and globally make remarkably more rational and long-term decisions than our black men. This it doesn't just apply to sex. Go ahead.
well,
You had a question. You had a response to that.
I disagree with that.
Okay.
I just the reason why I disagree with that is because you know these decisions that he's saying that other races are making, especially sex. Everybody's human. Everybody's basically prone to the same actions. But what black people in particular have to pinpoint is that we have to be more cautious going into these situations, especially getting the woman pregnant or the woman getting pregnant, because economically we're at the bottom of the totem pole. So it's going to be more of a challenge to maintain a sufficient life for the
Right,
child.
Tracy.
So we have to keep that into consideration. Economically, these other races are more strapped financially. You know what I'm saying? So we're not even thinking about that as a whole. That's why I believe in thinking as a collective. I'm not this individual minded black, just only thinking about myself. So I think about the black community as a whole. The black community as a whole, we're at the bottom of the totem pole economically. So we have to keep that in mind going into these situations. We actually have more of a responsibility to be more responsible going into these situations.
You're right. I think that we need to recognize that we are seen as the weaker race, and we are also not respected in a lot of cases as much as other races are. And we have to understand where we lie in the hierarchy sometimes. So
Exactly.
we have to be in alliance with each other because we really are sometimes the only support for one another. But I do appreciate this conversation. And Freezy, that was an amazing point.
Awesome. This is
And
awesome
JT,
conversation.
thank you so much for sharing and giving us a different perspective and opening up. And same with Daryl, because Daryl gave us a different dynamic and understanding of what it's like to,
And I appreciate
I
both the
be
think
on that
men.
side.
I
I think
appreciate
yeah,
both the men. I appreciate JT and Dad. I just want to say I
Me too.
appreciate you guys for being real.
Yeah.
I
right.
appreciate you guys
I
for being
appreciate
real
that
and
too.
just
I,
putting
I
your
think I, I think me and Daryl got similar
Conversation. Yeah.
situations, but
Yeah.
it's still different. It's still different because
Yeah.
based on hearing how Daryl talking, how I think a few things. Because I respect everybody, but I don't agree with everything everybody says, and that's the choice of matter, especially on top of it. Because I didn't want, the first thing I'm gonna be honest, I'm like, this person don't even have kids, and he's sitting here trying, trying to tell me, or
Leave
like
Jedi
that,
alone. We're gonna
that,
leave
that
Jedi alone.
no, no, no.
He's 23. He's
It,
23. Remember,
that's
he's
why, and
23.
I
Yeah, he's
had
young.
to remember, like, because he kept saying his generation. You know what? I have three sons, and do I want them to make the same mistakes I'm making?
right,
Absolutely not. I have two
right.
daughters. Do I want them to go through a person like I was? Hell no. So you try to raise your kids, and you want your kids to have a better chance.
That's
That's
right.
why
Yeah,
you do things around them to give them the better life and stuff
yeah.
like that.
I
You know
think
what?
So
Jedi had good intentions too. He had good
Yes, he
intentions
did. He did. He really did.
regardless.
Because he is progressive and he wants what's best for the community.
Yeah,
And I always
yeah.
support men of that nature. And I will say this, Gems and Jules, thank you guys so much. I want to end this by saying that I believe that the best structure for a family is the mother and father being together in a partnership that's long term committed and really in an environment where that is the culture and tradition and the foundation of the relationship.
right,
And so
like
I
you,
do believe that that is the best approach to family planning. And I do think that you have control over who you have children with and when you decide to have children. And so I want to promote that, and I want to encourage people to exercise those rights and exercise those capabilities to plan your family and to be engaged with the type of values and that you want to instill and what foundation you want to start off with. Is important and it's necessary, and it really changes the culture of not having your father around or your mother around and the issues that children have when it comes to that. Look up the statistics of children who are raised in in homes with both of the parents, as opposed to those who are raised with single mothers or single fathers. The statistics show you how positive it is to have both in their life and what that impact. And even if it's two parents of the same sex or whatever, it's so many different options, but there is an impact that you have when there are two parents who love the children or who take care of the children. And me, I support the nuclear family, and I want Black men and Black women to figure out how to get back together and make this cohesive and make these children, put these children in situations to live in, right? So I love you guys. Thank you so much. I respect you. Thank you, Freezy. Thank you, JT. You'll be back, and we want to, have these conversations more and more. Okay.
Thank you, Tawana.
All right,
Always a pleasure.
All right, Freeze. All right, Tawana. Thank
Jay,
you.